What's up, everybody? Station. Happy October 1st. Happy Horrorfest. It is time to get to one of my favorite horror movies of all time. One of my favorite films of all time. It's Dario Argento's Suspiria. There's so much that I love about this movie. So I had, of course, to bring on a panel of some of my favorite folks as well, including good old Jelani. What's up, Jay?
What's up? What's up? Good to be here, man. This is an experience. So I am very glad that you invited me to do this for Horrorfest to start off October the 1st.
Yes. You know, what's really funny is I saw a bunch of people on social media today being like, it's October 1st, time to start watching horror films. I'm like, start? What are y'all talking about? We're halfway through Horrorfest. What are you doing? Anyway, speaking of halfway through, it's Jay Strick. What's up, buddy?
I love the Italian horror.
That's kind of...
It's a bit...
Yeah, that's you need to workshop that, buddy. Speaking of workshopping, it's Joe Corallo. What's up, my man?
Just here to enjoy talking about a wonderful movie, and to just add on to what Jay Strick was saying, Mamma Mia.
Exactly. Speaking of Mamma Mia, it's the Mamma Mia Mario Master Mutant Master. I haven't done that in so long. I messed it up. Brooks, what's up, man? How you doing?
So
you got
like what? Why is everybody being so racist tonight?
I was like, you got some kind of okay. What's up, everybody?
Let's go.
Let's go.
Mamma Mia.
All right. Well, we're talking about Suspiria tonight, which is one of my personal favorite films, Dario Argento. I discovered this film at a video store, like that was an independent video store. It was one of the last independent video stores I ever went to. And it was like in my early 20s or late teens. It's probably around 19, 20, 21, something like that. And because I had heard about it all the time, read about it in Fangoria and all that kind of stuff, right? Mm-hmm. And so I finally saw a copy of it. It was on DVD, and it was the 3-disc set that had the Goblin soundtrack, and took it home and watched it. Changed my life. I was like, I didn't know cinema could be so art house, so incoherent, and so amazing at the same time, and just do a brilliant horror film. And it introduced me to the world of Italian cinema, horror in particular, the world of Argento, which can get pretty seedy sometimes. But I overall love this film. Obviously, it's one of my favorites. I think it's just a masterpiece. It is a truly nightmarish experience. It's got this dreamlike quality to it. It's got beautiful colors, cinematography, the way the camera moves. Like other Argento films don't have the color palette of this one, really. And so sometimes I think that they don't get talked about as much as Suspiria, but the camera motion, the movement is still there. And there's something really striking to me about that. The movie's great. Is it brilliantly performed? I don't think so, but that was just the way that they kind of made those movies or whatever. But I honestly love this film, everything about it from all angles. It is one of the most beautiful and all of the senses, like it like every single one, like the sound, the visual appeal of it, the visceral nature of it in your heart and your soul. I love this film, love it so much. Jelani, we've watched this film together many times. What'd you think about it on the rewatch?
Yeah, dude. And I think, I'd heard about this movie like on an internet poll, probably BuzzFeed years ago. It was BuzzFeed, one of those internet websites, and they were like, "This is the most gory first 10 minutes of a movie you'll ever watch." And I'd never really watched it, and I was like, "Oh God, no, that sounds awesome. I really want to get into that because I really liked horror at the time." And Robbie got me into this, so thanks for this altogether. Station brother. So I watched it with him the first time, as far as I can remember. And that was an experience. I'd never watched anything so, like you said before, it's very visceral. It's lights and colors and sounds. It is absolutely gorgeous on so many different levels. And the horrible murder. Mm-hmm. Oh, the horrible murder. It's a sight to behold. Like, if you haven't watched Suspiria, I definitely would suggest you watch Suspiria at least once in your lifetime. It's a bucket list movie. I think the Goblin soundtrack is a character within itself. I believe.
Oh, you noticed the music?
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
Wow. Unfortunately,
was there music in this? Yeah, I don't know. but unfortunately, it's not like the Funhouse. This is the complete opposite of last week. This is a total change. I actually enjoyed
You
one.
didn't like Funhouse?
No, not really. No, I gave it 2 thumbs up.
Nobody
Dude.
but me liked Funhouse. Apparently,
It's okay,
Whatever.
man.
Moving on.
It's okay, dude. But either way, all in all, it's a fantastic film.
We have taste.
Yeah. Oh, damn. Yeah, I'm gonna let it go because I had stuff to say, but I forgot it because everybody's like
Yeah.
jumping in.
Okay. All right.
So,
Overall, you
womp.
like it. You like Suspiria.
I liked it.
That's nice. It's a
It was
gorgeous
great.
film, right? And it's got one of the most elegant and beautiful executions I have ever seen on
Mhm.
screen. Ever.
Beautiful.
Speaking of beautiful, elegant execution, J Strick, what do you think about this film? Was this your first time watching it?
It was my first time watching it.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I was. I'm not trying to be like a weird stretch. Like it kind of moved me. Like it was a freaking dope ass movie, and from the beginning of the movie, like what you just said is obviously visually stunning. But like from the beginning of the movie, like when she gets to the airport, the music, the way it's shot, you're like it feels like every shot matters, right? Like from the beginning of the movie, I'm like, who the fuck was that lady in the red dress in the airport? Like why is she in red? Like the color red, it keeps coming up in this movie. What's up with that? And like it just feels so well put together. And I've seen Argento movies, and this one to me, like this is one of the best horror movies I've ever seen, man. Like it just is. Like it's got everything you want in a horror movie, and the music and the way it was shot just honestly blew me away. It's kind of speechless, if I'm being honest. Like yeah, it's one of the best horror movies I've ever watched.
Oh man, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That brings a tear to my eye.
Yeah, dude, that Goblin fucking soundtrack, man. Like,
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, dude.
Yeah,
There's a whole bit coming up about that.
Okay.
Joe, what
Yeah.
do you think about this film? Because this was the one that you picked out. You're like, I got to be on that one.
Yeah, no, this is oh my god. I mean, I've lost track of how many times I've watched this. You know, it's got to be at least probably over a dozen times, easy. I've seen it on the big screen. I've seen it in, you know, I mean, this is something I watched in like a lot of shitty apartments with different people in my 20s. You know, just that kind of stuff. And, you know, and I watched it again for the first time since I think last year. So
I watched it last year too, man.
yeah, you know,
Yeah,
and
it's
then,
in rotation.
Yeah, it's incredible, and every time I don't know if it's that I'm catching things, but sometimes you know you just every time you watch a movie you focus on different things and you notice other things, or like you really hone in on something. And this time for me, I really honed in on when she's getting out of the airport. It's just raining and she's got her bags and she's asking the cab driver, like, can you help me with the bags? And he's just like looking at her and she's like, and getting her bags and putting them in the, so I really honed in on that and was like, wow, like they're really going out of their way to make sure like she's not going to have a great time.
Yeah.
No,
Like
facts.
out the
He
gate.
never has a good time. No.
Escherstrasse.
You were saying it wrong.
That guy's a dick, man.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
He was gonna leave. I'm surprised he didn't leave when she went to the door.
She like had to stop him like twice.
Yeah.
Like, please don't
leave.
Please don't leave. She would have been out there all night. Well, yeah, so Joe's a big fan. Brooks, you've seen this movie before with me, I'm sure, with the crew. What was it like on the
No,
road?
actually, I watched it last year after you gave me your old DVD set.
That was the first time you watched it?
Yeah.
Man, I failed. I like everybody. Like every time I thought this was like, man, okay.
Yeah, you felt
I think you may have been playing it one night when you were staying, when you and Kevin and James were living in that house.
Yeah.
It may have been
That's
playing
when
one
I
night
saw
while I
it
was
first.
over there, but like
You're probably
I
too
don't think we're
stoned to
paying as
remember
much
it.
attention to it.
Yeah.
We're
dude, what's a Suspiria, dude?
Yeah.
on in the background.
Gotcha. Well, what do you think about the film, bro?
I like it. It's good. It's good. It's a very artsy kind of film, you know, but it's not like it's easy to like just have a bunch of beautiful shots, but have a completely boring and uninteresting movie. But like this movie is not that. It's like everything looks really, the shots are really nice and everything. It's like a lot of symbolism and stuff, but it all serves the purpose of building suspense. And like most of this movie is like just building suspense, and then the murders. And
The beautiful
it's
murder.
I have a hard time following the story. Like even now, like I can't really tell you exactly what happens, but I can tell you like I enjoyed watching it a lot.
Yeah. Well, you can tell us how it feels. Well, I'll tell you this. It's a simple story.
Yeah.
Right? Chick
Super
goes to a dance school. It's run by witches. She finds out. She kills the evil witch, and it burns up.
Yeah, I'd forgotten that she makes it
Credits.
out. Like I thought she
Bye.
died.
No, yeah, she makes it. I guess you got to have that release, man. But man, it's just such a great film. It's such a when people talk about the film, what we mostly talk about, of course, is the cinematography and the colors and the texture. That's another thing that's brilliant to me is the set design. It has a texture to it. Like it's not just a painted wall or just wallpaper. It's like velvet, or there's some kind of etching in it or something. It's such a tactile experience with this film. But there are characters in this movie, and even though it is a very thin story, and the narrative is not necessarily super strong as far as that goes, like it's not super layered that way, but there's a lot of interesting characters in the film that I really, really like. And one thing that helps me understand how the women in the or I guess the young ladies in the dance academy, how they act, is this was originally written to be like 12-year-old girls.
Mm-hmm.
And then they were like, we can't make this movie for 12-year-old
No.
girls, bro.
No.
Like, so, but nothing else changed. Like, honestly, they're acting like kids, So let's talk about these characters. Which one you want to highlight, Jelani?
Let's see. I really want to go for Miss Tanner. That was the lady that she first meets.
I love Miss Tanner.
Susie Banner meets. She I don't know how to say this. She looks and acts, not the witch part, but she looks and acts like a white version of my grandmother. It's weird. I know it's a weird stretch to say, but she kind of like, I don't know, something about her. I'm like, that's my grandmother. That's my grandmother in her prime. Oh my God. And she's very strict. She's very rigid. When she's angry, she's angry when she yells at the blind man for the dog biting the little kid.
It's one of my favorite scenes, bro.
It's great. She throws his cane in the coat. And he's got to like go get it. Nobody's helping him. I'm like, oh God, yeah. It hurts. Like it feels bad because like I know that dog didn't do nothing because they attacked that dog first, or they were doing something. I don't know. Somehow they were offended. That's how witches work. But I like how she was just so.
Who wouldn't want to attack that creepy ass kid, bro? Let's be honest. That's
True.
like the creepiest kid in a fucking movie ever.
That dog was so innocent, man. I just hate that dog had to go through that.
I think the fact that they dressed him up in that like old timey Victorian fucking outfit.
Yeah, I'd be mad too.
Like anybody's gonna look creepy. And I guess he got the Victorian.
Get the haircut too. The bowl cut.
That's how you make Gerard Ways, man. You got to watch it. Don't let your cowboys grow up to be what? I just fucked that whole thing up. Anyway, Mrs. Tanner is great.
Yeah, I love her, man. I love her.
1 and 2 and 3.
3 and 4 and 1. Yeah, she's just. I don't know. She's a very lively character, but she's very, like I said before, very strict and very rigid. And you can just in that performance, she nails it. I know she's been in other movies. I think she's in Inferno as well. She's in a lot of Dario Argento's movies. She's in a good bit of those. And so, like, I point her out every time. I was like, that's the lady from Suspiria. So, the movies I've watched with Dario Argento have her in it, and she's brilliant in all those too. She's crazy in all those. So, it works out. She found her niche. Yeah. I like it.
Tanner in this film is teaching strict and talking shit. And now let's talk shit with Jay Strick. What's the character you want to talk about, brother?
I actually think there's a lot of good characters in this movie. I really actually like Susie. Like I like how she's strong-willed. and I mean, she survives in the end. Y'all brought up the one I was going to mention, the little boy. I guess his name's Albert.
Mm-hmm.
Creepy as fuck, man. He gave me like Damien Omen vibes, and I'm just like, I would have someone take him. I was hoping the dog actually did take him out, but yeah, he was. It's the eyes, man. It's the eyes.
He was whispering to that big dude with the teeth. I was like, what are you saying to him?
Did you notice the bit where the one woman, like the talisman or whatever she has, shines the light at Susie's face, right?
Yeah.
Did you notice that the kid, while the light is shining, goes to just a creepy smile?
Yes.
And when it fades out, it just goes right back down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's so creepy.
We got him. We got him.
Yeah, he nailed it.
yeah, that's a good pick. What about you, Joe? What's a character you'd like to highlight?
You know what? For me, this time around, I was focused on Madame Blanc.
Nice.
Watching it, and I was trying to imagine, just like again, like the structure of the film, people who maybe are seeing the movie the first time, the way they set things up. You have Miss Tanner first, and then you meet Madame Blanc, and it feels like it's done so that way it looks like Miss Tanner's like the bad guy, and that Madame Blanc might be a supportive person. Like you might like Madame Blanc comes off as the person in a movie who would typically in these kind of movies be like skeptical and then either get killed off or help in the end.
Yeah.
Like that's the kind of character archetype it felt like Madame Blanc was, and that they kind of like twisted that around. And
really well. Really
yeah,
well.
but
at the end you're just like, what?
Yeah, because like I'm watching it this time, and I'm really like I'm focusing on that, and she's like helping him, and she's like, I'll call the police right away, later on, and it's like, it's like okay, like I feel like that's something that got lost on me somewhere in the middle of what once you watch it, like you're on your 9th, 10th, 11th time, and all that stuff that's going to happen, you're kind of like numb to those kind of things in movies.
Yeah.
And you kind of got to like rewire your brain a bit or like refocus yourself to be like, okay, no, this is the movie's doing this, and that's what's going on. And so I really had an appreciation for this time around.
And Susie was done, right? The moment that she told Madame Blanc that she wanted to stay in that apartment.
Yep.
And she's like, well, you said you wanted a room here. And from that moment on, it was like, that was the moment where she's like, we're getting that one.
Yeah.
Fuck that. Anyway.
she wanted her gone. She's like, death. I was like, wow.
I love that bit at the end. Yeah, the total transformation. When you see it, I love seeing it when you see their eyes bleed and stuff, and they're all like,
because they've all got the slash throat that the witch had.
Yeah.
Good catch.
And that's what's happening, and doing that to her
She's the head
did that
of
to
the snake.
rest of the coven. So
the head of the snake. Heck yeah. Speaking of the head of the snake, Brooks, what is up, man? What's a character you want to talk about?
Oh, she didn't get a lot of time, but I like the girl that the main character moved in with at first.
Mm-hmm.
The kind of the
Olga.
S is the name. S is the name for
Olga.
people who are snakes.
Yeah,
I wish she'd have been more in the movie. I figured she was going to have a bigger part. Really, the first time I watched it.
That character has a bigger part in the remake. I'll tell you that. One of the craziest death scenes I've ever seen in a movie.
Oh my god!
She makes it through this one though.
What a horrible murder!
That scene is so funny, where her and the other girl just doing the back and forth. She hisses at her, and the other one sticks her tongue out at her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like that's a really nasty insult.
You're snakes.
Call me a snake, you bitch.
Well, I mean, that might be something in Italian culture that just goes over our heads.
That's probably what it is. It's probably like the B word, right? It's probably or a C word. One of those George Carlin words.
Catholicism is a big thing over there too, and the serpent thing would kind of, I guess, be more of a insult.
Can I just say how much I love that the way you described it right now, completely deadpan, just being like, Catholicism, Italy, pretty big thing.
It's a thing.
Yeah, my sister just recently converted to Catholicism, and she talks about it to me all the time now.
Oh man, is he trying to convert you?
Was she part of the Catholicism WoW campaign, or
Like she married a guy who's Catholic, and she just recently converted.
Wow,
Yeah.
married before the conversion, huh?
Yeah.
Interesting. All right. Now Olga's a good pick, man. I really this is what like Joe was saying. When you watch a movie many times, sometimes you really notice something or hone in on something that you weren't before. The conversation Olga has when Susie's like recalling what the one lady is saying as she's leaving, right? And that's a weird conversation. I was trying to figure out exactly what was going on. It seems like it's a gentleman calling her, but she's kind of like, it's pay attention to that next time. It's really some interesting stuff. I want to know what's on the other side of that. Y'all pick some great characters. For me, I'll just throw out two more. One is Udo Kier with someone else's voice.
Yes.
I like him.
Yeah.
It's so weird. He's got such
exposition dump.
Yeah, he's got such a distinctive voice. It's so weird to just let me tell you something about the mind and the power of witches. Like,
that's not
the other one.
Clear.
The other one's the dog because he bit the hell out of that Albert bastard, man, and he should have. He really, really should have. And who wouldn't, right? Anyway. We're going to have a lot to say about this. Style and structure of the film. Jelani, start.
Man, where do we begin? What I love about this movie and what got me this second watching was when Miss Tanner walked across the floor with the maggots. The entire maggot scene. And I absolutely love that scene for some reason. It's just so out there and gross and in your face. And I love the bright colors past that scene. There's so much to talk about. The first 10 minutes of the movie alone are just, oh my God, just, by the way, when the witches are around, I love how the music does this, it plays into that as well. When you transition to the airport, like the airport, when the doors open, the music play, I know we're talking about that, but anytime you see light, like bright green or bright red or any color like that, that's the witches like using their powers.
You just described fucking 95% of the movie, Jelani.
It's so freaking gorgeous. I know. It's so much to talk about. So many colors, the visuals, the way she walked, like I said before, the way Miss Tanner walked across that floor, stepping on those maggots. It was just, why would you put the camera there? And it's great camera work. It's so beautiful. And like, these continuous shots, the way everything looks when the house is destroyed, when it blows up, when it falls apart, when Susie's running through the house. I mean, I love the sets. Everything about this movie is just, it's an art film. It's a feast for the freaking eyes. It's like, I wish I'd seen this and watched this in 4K in the movie theater. Yeah. That's how bad I want to see this movie. And I just drink it all in. Even when
I've never gotten to see it on the big screen either. And so
the big beating heart. Yeah. And the stabbing through the heart, the still pulsating heart. The clean murders. The murders are just like the fact that it killed that girl. And I know we talked about this in another stream, but he killed that. He stabbed her like 8 times, wrapped her up, stabbed her some more till her beating heart opened, then pushed her through this glass ceiling of this apartment, killing her friend as well. Like
sometimes,
the timing.
Sometimes it's about sending a message,
Yeah, apparently. And like, it's so clean. And so the film is structured perfectly. Even the ending when you get Mother Marcos, Helena Marco, and how she's just an old lady, and she's just the witch of the evening, and you just find this out, and she's glowing, and she can turn herself invisible. It's just that whole scene. It looks cheesy as crap in some ways, but it's beautiful, man. There's so much to talk about.
The movie is beautiful, man. And go ahead.
There's so much to talk. No, I was just saying there's so much to talk about. I mean, I can't focus on one thing because there's so much to go through.
Yeah.
And the story is told well. The cinematography is brilliant. The colors are astounding. The sets are amazing. I loved Olga's apartment with that background.
Oh yeah.
That white on black flowery print that was on the walls, like all the walls of her apartment.
Yeah.
That was, I loved it. And it's just, I can't stop talking about how great this film is.
Yeah,
Just,
it's a great
just
film.
to watch it.
So to go back to the maggot thing, the whole reason why the maggot scene happens is because they have to come up with a reason for the teachers to have to sleep with the students, right? So that they can hear the Marcos snoring or whatever, right?
Yeah.
So that means at one point, Dario and Daria were sitting together. They're like, we need a reason for this. And somebody went, maggots. And I love it. I love that bit. And one of the reasons why the movie looks so striking is this was one of the last films to be processed in Technicolor, right? So it wasn't shot on a Technicolor, camera, but it was processed with Technicolor. And so in that process, you get very intense control over the amount of red, green, and blue, and they amp that up for certain scenes. And at certain times, it's obviously always to induce mood, but the meaning is there. But it's more so if you notice, they're trying to like go from color to color to color to color to color, and just make it feel like a nightmare. And it ends very abruptly. That's one thing I hear about people when they criticize film. It's like it just ends abruptly. This is a dream that becomes a nightmare very quickly. That's why she's in the nightmare when she goes out of that airport. That's Jelani. That's why the music plays when the door opens, and when the door shuts, the music stops. As soon as she's out there, and even the signs like you're going into the Black Forest. This is a fairy tale. This is Snow White. He wanted it to look like an old Disney film, like in live action with all the colors. Like that's why they did it that way, using the same process of things like Wizard of Oz. Those movies look beautiful, right? The way they can do that. So, what do you think about the style and structure, Jay Strick?
Loved it, man. You have to appreciate what Argento wasn't trying but nailed in the movie is just simple scenes, felt high stakes, right? Like it was very, very intriguing just to like have a moment of like just the moment I was thinking when Susie walks into the dance academy for the first time and this like crazy music, intense music's playing. You're like, what the fuck's about to happen? Like, is everything okay? Like everyone's smiling. Like, and like the moments even later on in the movie when she's like dumping out all her food and then like this intense ass music's playing and then you're just like the wine in the sink, it just looks like blood and you're just like, oh my gosh, dude, this is crazy cool. And it's just so impressive, and it's something that we could just talk about, on and on, because it was really just masterful, I thought. I really, really enjoyed it.
Hey, Dylan. Glad to see you in the chat, not on the show, but thanks for showing up.
Damn.
But that's all right. Everybody check out Dylan's Horror Show tomorrow. We're going to be talking about Dragging Me to Hell, which is a nice double feature with Suspiria. They're about witches, right?
Yeah.
Water alert. Somebody's dragged to hell.
Yeah, right. The name of the title of the damn movie. No, Jay Strick, you're right. I mean, it's just such a striking film, and it is intense. And what I know, like with the soundscape of everything, like sometimes I'm wondering, like you don't know if the characters are aware of the colors, the colored lights, and you don't know if they're aware of the sounds and the score. Like what is actually in the score and what's actually someone just being like an actual like weird sound that they're hearing, right?
Yeah.
And I also love the bit when they're when the blind guy gets killed, right? And they're in that big open space. And when they start approaching or whatever, you see these shadows coming up, passing that like Parthenon looking thing, whatever that is. And it almost looks like witches on broomsticks, man. Like if you really like, you can twist your memory into thinking that it is. Joe, speaking of twisted memory, what do you think about the style and structure of the film?
Sure. I actually think I don't know if it's just because you're less sane every time you watch it, but it makes more sense every time you watch it. For example, the blind man getting killed. The way the movie is structured, and it doesn't beat you over the head with it or or really like hint at it other than just through the context of the movie, the witch's plans evolve based on the first murder. The first murder takes place is the only one with I believe a student getting killed off the premises.
Yeah.
It gets the cops there. So the witches had to change their plan to be like, okay, well, we need Susie to live here because if we have to take care of her, we can't have the cops coming back again. And then it was okay to kill the blind man because he doesn't live there. He just works there. So there's no necessary, like,
No connection.
the cops aren't going to, do anything with that necessarily. Yeah. And then the other murders, they had to start hiding. So, like, you saw the witches evolve in what they were doing. And no one ever stops the movie to go like, what's going on? Oh, well, you see, the witches didn't want the cops. That never gets mentioned. You just have to figure it out from watching the movie and be like, oh, of course, that's what's happening. And as you peel away at the movie and understand these things, like the movie gets like more and more like coherent, really. It's like, oh, okay, everything's actually kind of happening. Like it is a simple story, like you were saying before. And it is pretty, once you understand how the movie structure works, it's a very coherent, easy to follow story that makes logical sense within the movie or within the dream.
Yeah.
So I really appreciate that in a movie.
Heck yeah, man. That's really good observations right there, Joe. We appreciate that.
Like,
that's why we bring you here. It's also why we bring Brooks. Brooks, what do you think about the style and structure of this film?
Well, obviously, it's a very stylish movie. But like this time watching it, I remember you'd said Wednesday that you mentioned how it was kind of meant to be as like kind of like a live action cartoon.
Yeah.
Like, because I really saw it this time, like especially like the colors and it reminds a lot of it reminds me of like kind of an old school Disney movie, especially like the really creepy parts. Like some of the characters, are very are like these kind of like old people, like that, not necessarily frightening, but just kind of like in the way they're presented, which made me think of like the old woman in Snow White.
Yeah.
She was like nightmare fuel for a lot of kids.
Yeah. You remember I was talking about how he cast, what's her name? The main actor.
Yeah, she's got those big eyes.
Jessica Harper.
Yeah. She's in Shock Treatment. She was in Phantom of the Paradise.
Yeah.
I watched Phantom of the Paradise earlier this week.
Nice.
Yeah.
Argento said that he thought that she had a rather dull face and big eyes, which was perfect to play Snow White. And he meant that as a compliment. I guess in Italy it is.
Yeah. Well, I think she does pretty good, really. Yeah. I mean, I like the way she's very kind of matter of fact about a lot of things. Like there's certain times when she just kind of rolls her eyes at something weird happening. And the servant guy with the teeth,
Pavlos.
She's always like super nice to him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You got to be super nice to someone like that, bro, because you just don't know.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. Well, and that's
getting in your food.
Yeah, that's another bit though, where it's like, you think he's gonna really be like a major like henchman kind of character, and he's really not.
Nah,
but
he's just there.
One thing I forgot. Sorry to interrupt. This was another thing I wanted to mention is they foreshadow how like how she kills the witch, because it's basically the same beats as how she kills the bat. The bat's there as a threat. She uses just something in the room, but she couldn't kill the bat when it was there and moving. She had to throw the towel over it and just have the outline of the bat. And that's when she was able to kill it. And same thing, she happened to have something she could use against the witch, and she had to rely on the outline to kill the witch.
Right.
Nice.
Very smart.
I like that.
Yeah, that's it.
That makes the bat scene worth it, because that's the one scene in the movie where I just go, man, this bat scene.
That should actually. You put that and make that Bruce Wayne's introduction to being Batman, I think it makes Batman better.
Yeah, I would agree. Every one of these movies has one of those weird scenes where you're just like, what was it? The Beyond's the one with the spider scene, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right. And you're just like, if you take out the spider scene, the movie's got a really consistent tone. So it's just weird to have these rubber spiders eating somebody's lips off, but it's effective. Speaking of eating lips off, Brooks, you got anything else to say?
No, I think I about covered it.
All right. Yeah, maybe he did want to do the fairy tale thing, right? And that was very much why he was so insistent on how this was going to be colored. And his cinematographer has a lot to do with that as well. And of course, the process that we talked about. So I really, really love it. I think it's put together well. His co-writer on this film was Daria Nicoletti, right? And she was cast in Deep Red. They wound up having a relationship. And if you notice, he got a lot of criticism for some of his earlier films, his Giallo films, because this was Suspiria's his fourth film or something like that.
Yeah. This isn't the Giallo like style.
No, it's not. He's kind of breaking out of it. But I was watching this one dude talk about it, and he was saying, if you notice, after Dario got involved in Dario's life, he starts making movies with stronger female characters. Right. And that's what I was watching this movie this first time. Really, I mean, it's so crazy. But this time, I was like, this movie's like really strongly about women. It's not like about dudes at all. And like I never kind of really noticed that. I guess maybe I did, but I wasn't super, super conscious about it. But like, looking at what horror cinema is accused of, especially in the 70s and 80s. I mean, it's like, no, there are plenty of things where, there's violence towards women in this also, but it's
a lot.
It's interesting. You don't see, there weren't a lot of movies, I think, like this at the time. I think that was really something cool and strong. And that was definitely Daria's influence on Dario that lasted a little bit and then phased out in the latter half of his career, I would say. Let's talk about the music. Goblin. Y'all have heard me on this show, on my channel, all over and over, talk about how amazing Goblin is. In fact, the Argento cut of Dawn of the Dead, called Zombie, has more of the Goblin score, and it's a better film because of it, in my humble opinion. The music is part of this film. I almost wanted to say it was my favorite character in the film. It is my favorite character in the film.
Nice.
I love Goblin. They had done Profondo Rosso, which is Deep Red. That's a brilliant score. I mean, what can you say?
The Goblins, though.
I think originally, because they're a prog rock band, right? I think originally they were the Goblins. They eventually just shortened it to Goblin because that sounds better, especially better branding for like a horror movie.
Justin Timberlake showed up and he was like, drop the V.
Drop the D and the S, and you're good. And put in some more cowbell. But no, I'm a huge Goblin fan. I listen to this all the time. I learned it on the synthesizer. Y'all have heard me like, hey guys, check this out. Blah, 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 blah. Whoa. Like I freaking love it. It's great. And I've never gotten the chance to see them live yet. I would love to hopefully still get that chance. It doesn't feel like we're going to, of course, Claudio's separate from Goblin now, but when they perform, they play the music. They did music in Tenebrae, which is another Argento film I love. Goblin, this score is brilliant. And like what I was alluding to earlier is like how much of this is actually soundtrack. Like how much are they hearing? Are they hearing the like it is freaking scary. You could put this on if you're doing like a local like community haunt or something like that. Put on the Goblin score. You don't need to buy one of those cheesy sound effects CDs, man. You just need to get the Goblin score going, man. It is absolutely good. And if you're putting together a Halloween playlist, maybe this doesn't work for a Halloween party, though there is the Demonia like rock mix of the Suspiria thing would be perfect for a Halloween party. But if you're putting together a Halloween playlist like for atmosphere and tone and mood, anything Goblin's going to go strong. I love it. And this is one of those scores that you can't help but notice, right, Jelani?
Oh gosh, yes. I completely agree. Man, this music is a character in this film, 100%. Like I said before, anytime that a witch is doing some mess or the mess that's going on, that music's playing, and it's so real. And I mean, I never knew I didn't enjoy anything that sounded like doom, 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 doom. I had no idea I would enjoy something like that. I didn't know I'd enjoy, but I can't get it out of my head.
Yeah, me either.
It's so
in my head
freaking
right
catchy.
now.
Yeah, the whole time we've been talking. Yeah, it's
Fucking creepy.
insane, man. That music is like so baller. It makes no sense that like it works. It works so well in this film, and I know one of these days we're going to talk about the remake, but how Tom York did his score for that remake of Suspiria. That fits well with that movie.
Yeah.
This is the gold standard of what a horror movie should be. It's John Carpenter's Halloween.
It directly influenced Carpenter's Halloween.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Like Carpenter said that little dun 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 dun. He realized that a simple theme could like repeated could work, and so yeah,
it's just insane that like that's all you need. And for a horror film, it's simplistic, but it's complex to your ears, and it gains so much traction as the movie progresses.
Some drums,
and it's man, everything.
Don't they scream like witches?
Witch.
Yeah, witch. Yeah, that was like, bro, that's fucking creepy.
Yeah.
There's a bit.
That was weird though, because it kind of like gives away the game like early on in the movie.
Yeah.
No, that's the point though, man. That's the point, bro.
I switched from zombies to witches because of basically Suspiria. It's because witches, I think, they exist. So I'm pretty much sure that I'm like, zombies don't.
Dario believes they exist. He was really obsessed with. Of course, he comes from a mostly Catholic country, as Brooks pointed out. So he believes in the supernatural, like demons and witches and stuff. But I would say this movie's unfair to magic and witches. You know, I'll say it's a bit skewed, like most Hollywood is. But you know, Dario's really scared of witches.
Biased.
Yeah,
Catholic bias.
Yeah, is that the Catholic bias? Man, Jay Strick, I'm really excited to hear what you got to think about the music.
I mean, we all love music here at PCP, and this one, it just fucking doesn't fall short, man. Like when we did the Romero the zombie films, I never watched the Argento cut of Dawn of the Dead.
Yeah, and you made it a bit when I kept
I
saying
did.
the Argento cut.
I was like,
better.
there's no way it's better than the Romero cut, but I actually have changed my mind in the past year because the use of more goblin honestly makes that movie more like this. It just makes it better. And even in Suspiria, man, like it just works so well. And it's like I can't really stop gushing about it because it's just so impressive, man. Like I love it. It makes everything better in this movie, the music. And dude, it's freaking hype, man. Like I just don't I don't know what else to say, man. I feel like I'm talking about like my freaking crush in middle school. Like I'm just like, dude, this goblin music, bro. Like it gets me.
I love it because let me tell you something. Jay Strick's been bringing it these last few weeks here on Horrorfest. He's been bringing it, right? And tonight you really are just like you just met the sax man from Lost Boys.
Yeah,
and you just can't control yourself, man.
Goblin, bro.
Yeah, that Goblin's. I have a feeling we're gonna be listening to it Monday morning at work when we're opening the shop. So it's Halloween time, bro. You know, it's October 1st. Time to start watching horror films. Haha. Hey Joe, what do you think about the music?
Well, you know, first thing here is you got to wait till Inferno to get a song where they actually say the word Suspiria in it. So
yeah, it's true.
Just
Suspiria. yeah. That's right.
Which is a great song, by the way. But
Emerson.
But yeah, no, I mean, obviously the soundtrack, the score, and Goblin, everything's great. I feel like for most people, I would imagine you're watching this movie and like the music's like good, and then you get to when like Pat runs out and it's raining, she's running through the forest, and it's like gets really intense, and then you're like, oh shit,
yeah.
Oh,
what's
okay.
We got
we got something going on here, and And yeah, I love all the creepy undercurrent in it. The nice thing about it is the way it's done isn't like a lot of those sort of garbage jump scare movies that would, start becoming more popular in like the 90s, 2000s, and all of that. Like, the music emphasizes those moments, but it does it in a way where it just ramps up the tension. It's not trying to wake you up and get you to pay attention. It's not like a bird yelling at you in the middle of Citizen Kane to wake you up. It's
all right.
Because, like, again, you also get that scene. Apparently, that's why that's in the movie. But
Makes sense.
Yeah, it's a long ass movie.
Yeah, but like the scene, like another scene where, what was it? I'm blanking on her name, but the girl that was helping her that answered the intercom at first and then gets murdered at the
Angela. Or
Yeah,
maybe
Angela.
not. Was it Angela? Yeah, maybe.
She's the one who gets chased and then goes through the barbed
Yeah,
wire.
Oh, Pat Hingle. That's Pat Hingle.
That is Pat Hingle?
That's Commissioner Gordon.
No, Pat's the first one.
Pat's the first one.
Oh, the
I'm talking about the chick at the end that goes through the barbed wire.
She has a name.
Barbed wire.
She has a name that starts with an S.
Sarah.
I remember that.
Yeah.
It's Sarah.
Sarah.
That's
It is
what
It is Sarah.
Sarah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah,
We were
like
all
that
wrong.
bit, like it's the tension's building up. The guy's got it's the
God, we never mentioned the barbed wire scene. But yeah,
waiting for the thing to trying to pop up the lock there.
Oh yeah, that was such a long scene. I'm like, Jesus.
Well,
that setup is perfect. That girl has no
tension.
peripheral
I get
vision.
it. I get it.
When I watched it this time, and I've thought this before in other times, is the guy knows, or the witch, or whoever the entity, whatever ends up trying to do, knows what she's in for and knows the window's there, has no plans to actually open the door.
Just
Right.
Just doing a bit. Just doing a bit.
Because
There's some suitcases over there. You're
That's
smart enough
because-
to put them over to the window.
because he knows he's
That's
going to
messed up.
hear her scream
Yeah.
when she falls into that, and that's going to be his cue to walk around and get her. So that's the kind of feel like, but like when she does the jump and then it's then the music ramps up again.
Yeah.
It's really well done with that. And again, the scene at the end when she's like, it's like better every time I watch it when she's like running through at the end and everything's falling apart because she's just by herself. And it's just this creepy and loud and
It's very authentic too, because that shit is blowing up right at her, bro.
Yeah.
Like
It's mad. It's mad. It's dying. Yeah.
It was crazy.
Yeah.
I was like, when they were filming this, were there no safety precautions? Because it looks like she got hit by a bunch of things too, man. Like
Yeah,
it's
glass.
very.
It's a lot of
yeah.
glass.
But the whole soundtrack here, the score, everything really follows that whole like loud, quiet, loud, philosophy with music, and it just does it perfectly. And yeah, I could keep going on, but gotta let Brooks have something to say.
This is a movie we could just gush about all
We
night,
could talk
y'all.
about this all night, man.
Yeah.
We didn't even talk for real about that freaking scene, man. All that
Jelani is
freaking
very
barbed wire
bothered by the
scene.
razor wire scene. Yeah.
It's
Look
fucked up,
down.
man. I would
Just
have never
look
thought
down.
of. Oh,
My-
when I
my
jump here,
idea
it's going to be
is-
barbed wire.
Hold on. Do you think that she didn't look down, or do you think that like
She's probably
She's
sick,
probably
bro.
bewitched.
She probably didn't know it was there.
bewitched?
I imagine there was like
Yeah.
a glamour or something, and she didn't realize it until she
Yeah.
hit it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like she would have looked down and seen like just regular.
It probably just looked like
Wow.
fucking pillows. She's like, oh, how nice.
Oh.
I'm almost through this horrific ordeal.
Yeah.
And
What
then
a
she's
bummer.
just falling back into it. Oh my goodness.
You're
Speaking of falling-
making it worse. Yeah.
Yeah, you're making it worse. Just lay there and you'll be fine.
Yeah.
Just-
But the other thing too is if you didn't stay there, messing around with the lock trying to get in to cause her to panic, maybe she would have
noticed.
noticed or been thinking straighter about it. But like that's why I think that whole
Okay.
bit's very deliberate.
Yeah. So you get her all hyped up and panicked so she doesn't notice the big room full that just happens to be there for these situations. Like if somebody's if a student's trying to get out, lead them down this hall into this door.
Up these stairs.
Yeah, it's built that way. The ghost told us to build this way. It's like the Winchester house. Anyway, Brooks, did you notice the music in this one?
I did, actually. It's kind of hard not to, like
it's not Funhouse.
But yeah, I mean, it does. It's another one of those soundtracks that pairs perfectly with the movie because it serves the purpose of helping build a suspense, or like even like setting the mood, like when it's more low key, like that whole little musical box ditty, like doodly 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 doodly.
I think everybody's had a chance to hum it tonight.
Yeah, that's like it's been popping in and out of my head like ever since I rewatched the movie. Like,
that's good, man.
It's yet to go away. It's great. I love the when it starts getting a little boom. It kind of builds up itself. Like it starts out as this like little kind of musical box sounding, very kind of I guess childish sounding thing. And then you get the and then you get the witch. It kind of reminds me of like a Pink Floyd song, sort of.
It's that prog rock. It's that same kind of style, right?
Yeah.
They were making similar type music. Like it sounds like early Floyd in particular, right?
Yeah, like Metal or Saucer Full of Secrets.
Yeah, exactly. Set the controls for the heart of the sun. The heart of the sun. Speaking of the heart of the sun, let's talk about the heart of this movie. What is this movie about? Jelani, what's this movie saying to you? What's Suspiria about?
Don't go to Germany for dance school.
This is the same theme as Hostel?
Yeah.
Don't go to Europe?
Pretty much. Don't go to Europe. There's no reason. Like every time you go over there, some crazy shit happens. That proof of it is that movie. What was that movie we just did? Hellraiser, the Hellraiser movie that was set in, where was it? With Carrie Ware.
28 Days Later.
Oh, that was Deader.
28 Days Later, Deader. There's just so many movies where they're set in freaking Europe that you just don't want to go over there to visit, to stay, to do dancing. And by the way, speaking of dancing, I like how they only show one scene of dancing in this entire movie for a dance academy. It's very strange.
There's a couple.
There's a few things. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and then yelling at the man before he gets eaten by his dog. So I mean, there's little spots, but
that dog was digging in, by the way.
Yeah, he was going ham. He was like, "Man, this dope tastes good." Yeah, so I get it.
Am I making this up? Was there a moment where he kind of like reached to pet the dog when he was getting bit?
Yeah, he was. The dog was completely calm before it was like, ah!
Yeah.
So, yeah, the dog was fine. I just think the witch just got him.
So you're honestly trying to tell me that what you think the theme of this movie is don't go to fucking
Don't go to freaking Europe.
Bro.
I've watched this movie like 10 times. I watched this movie like 10 times. And I'm like, every time I'm like, she should have gone back out on the plane. Get back on the plane, go back to America, you'll be fine. You'll live your long, happy life. I mean, you live your long, happy life anyway, but you wouldn't be traumatized by all the crap you just saw.
I think Argento was trying to say that. Yeah.
You can tell a lot about a town by its cab drivers. All right, Jay Strick.
You're welcome. Funhouse was great.
Jay Strick. Wait, why we got bringing the Funhouse thing? That's like, I like Funhouse, whatever. Jay Strick. What's this movie about?
Beat a dead horse here, guys.
It's a bit.
Before I say what I think one of the themes is, because I gushed over the music so much, I forgot what I wanted to say, but I just remembered what I wanted to say. I watched the special features, and Argento was talking about how in a lot of movies they do the score or soundtrack after like the film's done or whatever. But this one was done before, and he had the music playing during the scene, so all the actors' reaction is probably genuine because the music is creepy. So I thought that was super dope.
They also had like lights 3 feet from their face, like with these bright ass like lights with these
Blinding lights.
fabrics on them and shit. Like, yeah.
Can you imagine if you're the actor? You're like, what the fuck did I sign up for?
Yeah. I thought it'd be cool. Go to Italy, make a movie.
Yeah,
Make a
couple
movie.
bucks. Dude, this is like one of those movies where you could watch so many times and you could take something different away. I think for me this time watching it, I noticed like the power of what am I trying to say? Like the perversion of power. Like you see this, you see the people in charge, the witches and whatnot. What?
Sorry, it's Manny.
What is that?
Manny's right. Thanks, bro. Yeah. Thanks, bro.
There ain't
Back
nothing
me
good
up.
in Europe.
Since I'm a cab driver, you know, I gotta do stuff.
They got fucking Draculas and werewolves and
All I got is Draculas and witches and Victor Von Dooms.
In Euro trip.
we love our European audience, by the way.
We
everybody.
do.
Just
You guys are
know
great.
that.
Just I can't visit you. That's it. Because you'll kill me somehow. I don't know.
J-Strick, you were saying?
This guy really commits to a bit, doesn't he? I don't remember what I was saying, honestly. This jackass threw me off.
You're welcome. Hey, payback's a motherfucker. Ha!
All right, that was a bit awkward. All right. Well, J-Strick, if it pops back up in your head, just let us
come
know.
back to me.
Sure.
Joe, what's this movie about to you?
Here's the thing, everyone. Here's what I think. I think this movie might be a feminist reclamation of Dracula.
Ooh,
Because the
spicy.
story's about instead of a vampire, it's a witch who's an old immigrant who's come and more or less lives in this castle and has, you know, surrounded herself with women similar to Dracula that have also gained this like extended lifespan. And it's, instead of there needing to be this like, you know, vampire hunter character, one of the women that gets lured in is actually the one who defeats the Dracula character.
The Mina stand-in, I guess. She
Yeah.
would be.
Or a Harker, right?
Harker?
Yeah, Mina or Harker.
Yeah.
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 Nice.
I actually think that works, bruh.
Yeah.
I mean, it starts the same way Dracula starts. Dracula starts with Jonathan Harker going and with the movie it's Rainfield from the Lugosi one, but you know it's Harker going to this castle, a foreign country. He's going there to do, you know, work, right? And it's weird. He's thrown off immediately. He's offered, you know, all this hospitality, but there's this sickening ulterior motive behind it. Like, bruh, nicely pulled, Joe.
Thank you.
I'm going to start saying that all the time now and be like, yeah, it's kind of like a feminist retaking of Dracula, if you really think about it.
Yeah, there you go. Go for it.
No, I like that. That's good. What about you, Brooks? That's probably definitely, by the way, the Dario Nicolodi influence, I would say, right?
Yeah.
Like in there, 100%. Brooks, what's this movie about to you?
I think it's about kind of like fear of growing up. Like it seems to me like, you know, the main character, she starts out, you know, she's like a lot of these girls, they're still children kind of in a way, you know.
Yeah.
They're newly they're coming into their adulthood in a way, and like, you know, they even mention like in certain parts like how they feel kind of resentful about being treated like children by like, you know, these adults. And it's like, and the girl who shows up in the beginning, you know, like when she comes out of the airport, like the airport, I kind of see it as like, you know, her life before, and when, you know, when she goes out into the rain and stuff, like this is how the world really is. And, you know, like the school, like the idea that like, you know, adults are out to get you, you know. And so like that was just kind of my silly old take on it.
No, I think you're 100% right, because that's pretty much what I was going to say. I think this is a coming of age movie, right?
Mm-hmm.
Especially knowing that he was originally intending it to be they were originally intending it to be 12-year-olds, right? And they still act that way, right? They're kind of petulant, right? Even Ogla, who is the only one who really oozes any kind of like sexual arousal, like she's trying to portray that, right? Feels like she's just mimicking what she thinks adults are supposed to be, right?
Yeah.
How the adults are supposed to act. And I ripped that from a video essay that's on the Blu-ray that I have. So that was the first time I ever thought about that, because it was told to me. But no, it's the coming of age idea, and the idea that yes, this your background, this is your childhood, and now you're into the world, and it's crazy. The people that you're going to be working and learning and studying with are not always going to be having your best interests at heart. Things will get chaotic. Things will get confusing, right? And it's the same to me. I mean, it's the theme of Snow White and the Seven Dwarves, and that's what this movie was trying to be. And then the Dracula bit, bruh, now I'm like, this movie's even more layered. See, every time you watch this movie,
Yes, it's gorgeous.
it's more, because there is that big feminist streak in it, and it's not something like I said, like this is one of the first times I started noticing there's like no dudes in this movie. There's like the blind dude. There's the one dude who I think is faking attraction to Susie to like lure her in because he's with them.
Yeah.
Because he's lying for Tanner, and he
The
may
love
be
interest.
Is he the dude in the cloak that we see walking down the hall with the long? Who knows?
I don't know.
Who knows who's what? Right?
You don't see
There's
them
a lot of
together at
unanswered
the
questions
end.
in this movie. Really.
There are a lot. Yeah, what happened to the cops anymore? Hell, they get enchanted.
Yeah. But ultimately, what this movie is about how a brilliant vision trusted to be fulfilled and is allowed to execute properly when you have the great collaborators of the cinematographer and the writers, the producer, of Goblin. And remember, Dario's really, it had a hand in all of that. Amazing. And so this is the power of collaboration. This is the power of vision when it's executed and able to fulfill itself. I think it's strong. I think it's amazing. It's one of the best films I've ever seen. And every time I watch it, it's more and more and more. And another thing I noticed, because I was watching it last night while falling asleep with the commentary on, there's a moment when she's in the taxi cab and the light flashes, like there's one of the street lights flashes across or whatever, and you can see Dario's reflection in the glass of the car. And he has this mad ass grin on his face. He's just like, and I'm just like, this is the man who made this movie, who probably was like, yeah, like, it's a movie. Anyway, so now it's time for the rating. Out of 5 possible redo. Out of 5 possible you digs, what do you out there in the chat give Suspiria, the 1977 Dario Argento masterpiece? And what do you give it, Jelani?
Man, I'd be remiss if I didn't give it a 5. I mean, you have to give it a 5. It's a freaking masterwork. It's one of those films that you come across in your lifetime that you have to share with others. Like it is visceral. It is the music. It is the visuals. It's everything. It's pretty much like something I would watch. I've watched it probably 10 times, probably 10 or 11. It's free on YouTube. I watched it in Italian just for fun. I've had it playing in the background when I do housework. It's something that's like so clean. It's just such a movie that I'm not the horror connoisseur, but I'm up there, and I think this is tops. This might be one of the greatest like horror films that's ever been made, that's ever been produced, and it's something that you have to enjoy. Like if you're a part of our audience and you understand where we're coming from, you need to watch this film. Thank you, Robbie, for showing me this film all those years ago, because it got me into the other ones, Station Brother, and it really shows me that you can have a good horror movie that's cheaply made, that's stylistically important. And it's just so many things that I could say about it that I can't. I'd be here all night. So
I don't
I'm going to
think
give
this
it a
movie
5.
good. 5, nice. It wasn't cheaply made though. I just want to say that.
Really?
This wasn't a low. No, they built all those sets. They did all that stuff.
That whole building. Oh my god, I'm so impressed. Then I take it all back. That was gorgeous. It's
Oh,
gorgeous.
it is. You know, it's good. I'm just saying, like Dario had hit it real big, so they put a lot behind. I don't know. I mean, it's probably cheaply made by today's standards and probably by like blockbuster standards. But yeah, like no, I get what you're saying. Like 100%. 5 you digs. Perfect score from Jelani. Hell yeah. What about you, Jay Strick?
Suspiria is one of these movies. If you're a horror fan, you gotta watch, right? Like it's just brilliantly done. I'm giving it 5 you digs, man. Like I have to. It's reigniting my love for horror in the past couple of years. This is kind of one of those things where it's kind of crazy. I've never seen it, and it's one of those ones. Like Joe said, in different time periods of your life, I know I'll be able to take something different away from it, which is really cool. When a movie can do that for you, I mean, I think if I was a director, I'd be like damn proud of that, right? Because like that's probably why they got in the cinema, to move someone that way. So 5 you digs, man.
Heck yeah.
Nice.
I love how this movie has made you damn near speechless tonight. I think it's amazing.
I don't got anything profound to say tonight. I'm just like, bruh, Goblin, Argento.
Those are my go-to bits as well. Joe, what about you? Out of 5 you digs, what do you give the film?
I have to give it a 5. It's too good. It's you know, because in terms of elements of the movie that you know might be weaker than others, it's intentional. It's not like the movie was trying to do something and it fell flat. So it's hard for me to put too many of the like dings in the movie against it, because you know a lot of it's like that's not the point. This is supposed to be more of a dream. This is like you don't like. I feel like sometimes when people do these kind of reviews for like movies, like not this channel, but you get people who are like, I can't give it a perfect score because this movie didn't do this thing that you're supposed to do in movies.
Didn't check all the boxes.
It didn't check all the boxes. It didn't have a clean 3-act structure. It didn't do this or that. And it's like, I think that makes you a lazy reviewer, and you have to really take everything in and account for what the movie's trying to accomplish and what the movie's not trying to accomplish.
Sure.
And because of all those factors, I'd have a hard time not giving it a 5.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. And thank you for saying that we don't do that. And I feel like we don't, you know, we're always like,
yeah,
we talk like there's plenty of movies we've given 5 you digs that are they? They are to us. You know what I'm saying?
I gave Hellraiser a 5.
I gave, I remember I was trying to be a little critical. I was like, I'll go 4.5 because it is a bit stiff at times. But then I give Funhouse a 4. The hell's wrong with me?
Yeah, what the hell? Dude?
Yeah, dude. Seriously.
Out of 5 you digs, what do you give Suspiria?
Oh, he froze. Did he freeze?
Is he
doing a
bit?
bit? No, I think he froze, bro.
Oh no.
This is internet.
No,
He's doing a bit.
Oh, my turn?
That was great.
I'm fucking done, dude. We all thought he was fucking frozen.
I
He
don't
was
think
just
Ronnie
waiting to
said
talk.
books, though. I don't think you said.
I give this
books.
movie a 3. It's all right. No, I'm just kidding. I give it a 5 too.
I was about to say, dude, I was like, bruh, don't do this to me.
Yeah, like after watching this movie, I was like, man, I might watch this one again, like later on, like closer to Halloween time, just because like I feel like I could maybe get more out of it, you know, maybe pay more attention and try and, you know, get more of the story from it if I gave it a rewatch like soon after. So yeah, this is a great movie, very entertaining, very it does you know, when you hear the term horror movie, like a lot of times it doesn't really fit because you don't feel horror from a lot of horror movies, but you do from this movie. His movie can induce like actual horror into you, which is like, it's great.
It's almost like it's a magical spell
Yeah.
crafted as a movie. I'm right there with you. It's 5 you digs. This is a perfect film for me. It's one of my favorite films of all time. I mean, it's like it's up there. It's just
Damn,
one of the
you're
best.
perfect.
It's a perfect film. It is.
Yeah.
I mean, for what it's trying to do, it does it. It's an experience. And we talk about rewatchability. We rewatch this film, and every time there's something new. We talked about that tonight. But one of the most astounding things to me, and one of the highest compliments I can give this film in particular, is there is not another film like it.
No.
There's not a single film like this movie. There's nothing that I could be like I fell asleep because really tired, but I was watching a bit of Mandy last week, right?
Mhm.
And you can see influences of Suspiria in that film, right? But like even that wasn't like this, right? Like nothing is like this movie. There's just nothing out there. And to me, it's the best witch film I've ever seen. It's one of the best. It's the best horror film I've ever seen. It's literally one of the best movies I've ever seen. It's Dario Argento to me is like the Stanley Kubrick of horror films. Like, and we talk about the Halloweens and the Jasons. We talk about all the stuff and all the really good ones that we talk about, right? All the good horror films like Suspiria, Dario's like the way that people were talking about Nirvana, but they didn't give enough respect to the Pixies. When we talk about John Carpenter, we got to talk about Dario Argento too, and the stuff that came behind, and even Argento's influence on Romero's career, and there were. Dario is one of the most important figures in cinema history. So 5 you dig. So 5 across the board. That's the second time for Horrorfest this year where we get a perfect score. The other one was 28 Days Later and Suspiria. So heck yeah. And if you look out there in the chat, Tomorrow gives it 5 you digs. Kirby 5 you digs. John says he'll give the film 5 out of 5 and give Jelani a 4 out of 5. I think he's actually improved his rating on you. There you go.
Not against it. Not against it.
Jorm says 5 you digs on the strength of this review and Jelani's dope Wiccan robe.
Do I have a Wiccan robe? I don't know.
62 gives it 5.69 dudes.
Nice.
So there you go. So 5 you digs. That's an average of 5. No 69 joke because Lefty already did it and we don't need to. So anyway, that's our review of Suspiria. We're going to take a quick intermission. We'll be right back for a quick back chat. Thank y'all. And remember, I was supposed to do this. Next week, we were supposed to be doing Satan's Little Helper, but Joe somehow conveniently scheduled New York Comic-Con that week. So we're moving that. We're moving the schedule. We're doing our surprise movie review next week. It's going to be Demons 1 and 2 by Lamberto Bava. So we're doing a back-to-back Italian. It's amazing. I'm really excited about doing the double feature next week. So don't worry. Satan's Little Helper is coming. Joe, I can't wait to watch that one, man.
I'm excited for it.
Yeah, I watched the trailer and I was like, yeah, we got to do that. But join us tomorrow night on Dylan's Horror Show for Drag Me to Hell, continuing Horrorfest. Had a lot of fun rewatching that one this afternoon. I forgot how fucking goofy it was.
It's pretty fucking goofy.
It's Sam Raimi,
right?
It's Sam freaking Raimi.
Yeah, it's pretty fucking goofy. All right, we'll be right back, y'all. Hey, Joe.
Hey.
I would be remiss tonight not to mention that the final issue of Beckstar 5, came out this week.
Yeah.
I would encourage everybody to check it out. It was a fantastic finale. It
Thank you.
made my top 10. And with Jim Mint Collectibles, spoilers, but that will be up tomorrow morning, I believe. And loved the book, bruh. So well done.
Thank you.
Baxter!
Did you read Beckstar number 5 yet, Brooks?
I did, yeah.
Did you like it?
Yeah, I thought it was really good. It's kind of sad in a way. A couple of characters just kind of die.
Well, don't spoil it for people.
People die,
I
man.
didn't say who.
People die all the time.
Is the people gonna die?
Yes.
Oh
Yes.
Oh, I love it. I love it.
Thank you, Tata. Judah, good Juju.
You're in a bigger doo-doo now. We didn't mention that crazy ass wall with all the archways and all the expressionism that was done in the film. Like, there's so much to talk about with Suspiria, right?
The irises.
Brooks, I want to know this. What did you think about Inferno?
I thought it was pretty good. I mean, I'm ready to see what's actually going to go down with all this. It's kind of bittersweet, because it was supposed to be like, but like the midway point in his run, and now it's going to be the end.
It's not. They got Mother of Tears. Mother of Tears exists.
Let's not go
bro.
down that controversial road.
Delaney, we're talking about X-Men Inferno. We're not talking about the next. I know. I see how that could be very misleading.
My bad.
Talking about Dario Argento.
My bad.
Inferno.
I thought you were talking about Inferno. Okay, my bad. You're talking about Inferno X-Men. I get it now.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
I understand the confusion, though.
I was like, Inferno? What? Okay. Continue.
They're like, why didn't you come up with a different name instead of like naming after an already established and popular X-Men story?
Do you think that's Hickman's idea? Or do you think that's Jordan DeWhite's idea? I don't know.
It's got to be higher up, because this is an ongoing thing they've been doing for so many years now, of like, let's just call it an event that has nothing to do with this.
Yeah. Avengers Forever is coming soon, so I'm excited for that. Joe, did you read Inferno yet?
I did read Inferno.
What'd you think?
I think there's a version of that comic that could have happened that would have been great. I think, is this should we get into mild spoilers or?
Yeah, mild spoilers for X-Men Inferno, not Dario Argento's Inferno. So if but
yeah. Well, I mean, it's tough to even call it a spoiler because everyone knows what's gonna fucking happen. Like, that's my biggest problem with this comic was I picked it up and was like, oh wow, it's everything I thought would happen, but not as much.
Yeah.
Wait, is this the end of, like, this is the complete end of Hickman's run?
Yeah.
Like,
it's gonna be, it's 4.
I knew he was leaving.
But like, it's like, dude, you got 4 issues left, and like half to like 2/3 of this issue is basically recapping stuff we already know.
Oh boy.
That is true.
There's like extended recap scenes, and then I didn't mind reading the 3 data sheets in a row until I started reading the pages after, which were just acting out the data sheets.
You're right
I
about
started
that.
reading those like a long while back.
But like, I read the data sheets, I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna do this. And then the next like 3, 4, whatever pages of art, I'm like, are you serious? Did you you're taking lines from the data sheet?
Yeah.
And you're just having characters say it. Like, why are the data sheets in there then? Like, if you're just going to show me immediately after, and then they do the thing where it's like, we're going to have a long extended recap of something that happened in Hoxpox, which is going to immediately spoil the rest of the issue because you know exactly where it's going.
That sucks.
That ending, the last like few pages would have had such a massive impact if
Had it not been told
all
earlier.
the rest of that stuff was something different. What this comic should have been was an actual fight scene. There's no real fight scenes here that we haven't already seen. It's a couple of recap quick violent scenes and everything else. Like there's a lot of like 9-panel grids of people just being like, politics, the council is what shall we do? And you're like, this shit again? And then, but like, if you did high octane action, there's a mission going to, we figured out how we're going to stop Nimrod this time. You do it different. You do it. They almost win. You do something like that. Then you do the resurrection bit. You start setting up who the rest of the council is going to be. And then you do that ending.
Yeah.
And no Moira. Don't have Moira show up because that Moira stuff in this sucked.
They bring Moira back.
They didn't bring her back. They just finally go into a room and just go like, oh hey, Moira.
There's Moira.
Yeah,
but they act
finally
like
get back to it.
Yeah, they get back to it, but it's as if like she was just like hanging out in her room the whole time,
Just
and they knock
chilling
on her
this whole
door
time.
and be like, "Oh, hey, Moira, hey, we haven't seen you since one panel in like Ten of Swords. What's up?"
Yeah,
but like the problem is it fucking blows. She's acting like a petulant child the whole time, and you're like,
"She's been alone all this time."
This is what I waited for, a scene where she's like being a brat, and then they should have waited to bring her back next issue. And they should have allowed that really powerful ending to the issue that they completely botch by everything that happens before it.
Oh, okay.
Or what I think they could have done is actually had done this like a year ago, and in a 12
done way earlier.
In a 12-issue run of X-Men by Hickman, actually had Moira in it and showing us that Charles and Eric were not listening to her and showing her progressively getting more and more pissed about it so that it doesn't seem just out of nowhere that she's acting like this, right? Because the one thing I did like is that they build this as we all thought, or at least I did, and a lot of people around me thought that this was going to be Mystique showing up and burning shit down because they won't bring Destiny back.
Yeah.
Turns out Destiny's already been brought back. Charles and Eric didn't know that. I think Emma's somehow responsible for that, because it gives us that scene in the beginning where Eric and Charles are being resurrected by Emma. So they were gone for a time and she had access. So I think that's what's going on there. And Emma just likes to foster that kind of shit. She's got her own power plays going on too. I didn't think Moira was acting so out of whack to me as Charles and Eric. And like, the thing is, they have been acting like this entire fucking run. And it just feels like, I don't know how much of this is actually, I don't know the behind the scenes of what's going on. All we can do is piece it together, get our own impressions of it, know these people's personalities that are involved in all of this. And you can kind of piece some things together. Then you hear some things that in other YouTubers or other people hear things, and you start piecing together a picture, right?
Yeah.
And this should have happened a year ago. Heckman's X-Men run should have been 12 issues. The 10 of Swords should have been 10 issues. I feel like this should have happened right after 10 of Swords.
Yeah.
Like this was the
I
next.
stopped reading after 10 of Swords.
That's where it starts feeling like real filler. You know what I'm saying? Like, even when you get back to, they're finally get back to Orcus, and X-Force's purpose, right, is to go after Orcus and figure that should have been what that book's been about the whole time.
Yeah.
These missions that they give us in those data pages and then briefly kind of run through again, that should have been what the X-Force book was.
Yeah.
Like, holy, that's what it should have been about. Like, not these weird plant things and Beast acting like he's like, I don't even know, like an evil Anthony Fauci. I don't even know what Beast is doing right now, man.
Yeah, but no. I think you're right there on that stuff. But yeah, I don't get it anymore. And now just the way they're doing this, it's like you got 4 issues. You don't rehash stuff. Just go into it. And Yeah, but no, doing that stuff with X-Force would have been something. I'm also so like the data sheets. Not only have I checked out, but like I hate them now. Like it went from something that I was like, this is cool, to it's not cute redacting stuff anymore. Now, when you redact something, I don't care. I'm not trying to piece a mystery together.
Yeah,
I'm like, no,
Just tell me.
Well, they've even abandoned the Krakoan language, like the whole idea about how that was
Really?
like a cool thing. Well, Jelani, there's a lot you fell
I
out.
missed 10 of Swords. After 10 of Swords, I was like, I got caught up and stopped just out of the blue. I don't know why. I just didn't feel it after 10 of Swords. And then I was just like, And now that you get its ending, it just feels like it's a whimper.
Well, it's not.
It's starting as a whimper.
In a nutshell, basically what happened, Jelani, is that Hickman came in with this plan that was originally stated to be like 3 acts, right?
Right.
And
I remember.
Apparently what happened is they got comfortable with the sales and with the response, and they leveled out, and they were introducing they kept introducing new titles that would provide these little spikes. Right. And so they had numbers looking decent for, I guess, what they were trying to do, especially after Hoxpox. Numbers were strong. Right. Mm-hmm. And then they got happy in it. And basically what happened was, what I've pieced together is that Hickman was like, all right, it's time to move on to the next phase.
Next section. Yeah.
And most people, and probably editorial, and a lot of some of the writers probably were like, no, we're cool here. Right. Like, let's just keep this going longer. And I even remember Hickman saying, it's designed to, like, now he says, oh, it was designed that we could play in any part of it for so long, and then we can move on. And that's not what they were saying in the beginning. He was like, I got a 3-act fucking awesome plan. It's going to change.
Because he was doing all of this. Yeah, it was supposed to be like this epic opus of the X-Men.
I feel
when they get their own island for crimes. Like,
this is my
X-Men's kind of like such a massive project to take on because there's so many X books, you know.
Well, there didn't have to be.
It didn't have to be.
That have to tie in with the story and stuff.
But there didn't have to be. And especially what happened is you basically find, okay, so what happens is Hickman's like, let's move on. They're like, no, let's not. Like, okay, let's play around. And then he's like, are y'all ready? And they're like, no. And he's like, all right, well, I'll dip out then. And now it seems like they're ready. They're not moving on to Hickman's phase 2, I think. They're trying to make people think that that's what they're doing for some reason because they don't want to lose readers, right? Yeah. But what they're doing is they're allowing Hickman to kind of have a final thought and set up on some of his ideas probably, but still probably aligned with what they also want, right? Which is fine. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And so Inferno to me is like it's not so much going into his second act as it is setting up for what they want to do going forward. Yeah. And I feel like we're going to get a big reboot after Inferno of a lot of these titles, right? She may make that decision, get the 11th. Who knows who knows? I don't know. But at this point, like what Brooks said, to me, I overall did enjoy the issue, but it's bittersweet. Like, and there's this should have been at a different place and different time. And I feel like we were robbed of what we were promised, and that's okay. Because when Inferno's done, I can be done, until but at the same time, I'm really enjoying the main X-Men book right now. Yeah. 3 years in, I'm digging it. If you take Pepe Larraz off of it for a few issues, I don't know.
How was that trial of Magneto? I don't know if
it doesn't matter anymore because Inferno spoils it.
Yeah, in Inferno, Magneto's fine. He's good.
Yeah, that thought occurred to me like, wait a minute.
There are only 2 issues
before or after that trial.
It's after. They've said it's after. So like maybe in Trial Magneto ends with Xavier and Magneto, but like here's what it almost like
I mean it's not the first.
I'll get Inferno. I'll read it.
They two have done this, but
I'm gonna get it.
But no, I mean I'm
gonna get it. I gotta finish it.
Yeah,
I gotta finish it. I thought it was just. It felt like it was middling. I don't know. I just didn't feel like they were going to any more stories after 10 of Swords. After 10 of Swords, it just didn't feel right to me. I don't know what it was. I tried a few issues after it, and I was like, I'll see what happens.
I get it. Yeah.
And it branched off into other X titles that I didn't want to get. I don't know. It just felt weird.
Yeah. So they all made us read Excalibur way too long.
Way too long. Oh, well, You know, I stopped. I was like, Dragon
I remember that
Kid.
there was that brief time when Ten of Swords started where everybody was like, "You mean I was supposed to be reading Excalibur the whole time?"
Yeah.
Like, not really.
Wait,
And now
question.
Apocalypse is off the fucking board.
Yeah,
Who
he's
knows
gone.
who will ever get back to that? And like, I feel like Hickman had that shit set up for something, right? Or maybe he didn't. I don't know. Maybe Hickman was just like, I remember way back in the day when all the rumors were that Hickman was going to be doing Legion of Superheroes at DC, right?
Mhm.
And I remember him saying, "Oh, I fucking hate the X-Men."
Yeah.
Like, I remember seeing like, "I hate the X-Men," and then like he changed it. Maybe this was just a big troll from Hickman. He was like, "Yeah, how much you gonna pay me?"
This is
Take the
just
coolest villain and get rid of him.
this is Hickman's Legion 5 years
But
later.
Apocalypse is always being gotten rid of. That's kind of his thing.
So this is his ideas, like, you think, like, reinterpreted from his Legion stuff?
If you go back and read Legion 5 years later, basically the premise of 5 years later was, Keith Giffen was taking over the title with the beer bombs, and this takes place after the Magic War that Paul Levitz wrote.
Yeah.
It's a 5-year jump, and the whole premise of 5 years later is you don't know who the Legionnaires are because they're all in like hiding and they're scattered across the universe, and like Mordru won and took over the Earth, and it's like his like empire now, and they're dealing with like the Time Trapper and these other guys, and the Legion like slowly coming back together after they've split up to finally fight back. And every issue has data pages, but the pages are done in a more interesting way, because it'll be like, oh, in this issue is like a news report on like a Monel or something like that, and then this other one is going to be the status of this wealthy family, and this other one is like like what like the history of brand and funding the Legion original. Like there's stuff like that scattered in each issue, and it slowly builds into this really like big powerful story. And that's clearly what he was trying to do here. He was like, I'm taking the idea of the X-Men, I'm moving it to this, like, they're clearly like there's this like time jump that happens because they act like all this other stuff didn't happen. It's so obviously just Legion 5 years later. It's like,
see, I've never read that one, Joe, right? In fact, I've never been able to get into the Legion. I read the Great Darkness saga like back in the day, like when like DC had like 12 trades and that was one of them.
Yeah.
So like I read that and I liked it. It was mostly because I was a dark side guy, right? But I didn't care about any of these Legion characters. To me, people complain about the X-Men, like, there's too many characters, it's hard to keep it all. That's how the Legion feels like to me, because it has this before, like when I was getting into comics, by the time I was wanting to try out Legion stuff, there was already this like intense cult following that I felt was impenetrable, right? But so I would always try to jump on. I read a little bit of the Mark Waid stuff when that was going on, and then New 52, and then that was when I was like, I think I'm ever reading Legion again. I don't think it's for me, right?
Dan Abbott, Andy Lanning, they were great on that book.
Okay. I remember
when they did Olivier Coipel and they did Legion Lost. Yeah, that was top notch.
Like the first Legion Lost, right?
Yeah, the first.
Not the
Legion
second one.
Lost.
Okay.
No. But
I did try to jump back in when Bendis came in.
Yeah.
And that didn't work. Now,
but
Jeff, go ahead.
No, I think Legion Lost, that run, like 12 issues. If you like that, which, I think there's a chance you might, because it's really, it ramps up the tension each issue in a way that to me is comparable to something like Watchmen, where it's like the first issue is like, okay, like shit's going down, but like we're the Legion, we got this. And then every issue it's like, oh shit, it's worse than we thought. But then it keeps getting worse and worse.
Oh, wow.
And it just ramps up to like a really powerful emotional ending. And I think you should try that. And then if you like that enough, we can talk more about like, okay, this worked for me. Where do I go
Okay.
from here, kind of thing.
Okay, because what I was getting into was that I did like the Legion stuff that Jeff Johns did with Gary Frank in Action Comics. Like during his really brief run there, like I thought that was really strong stuff.
Yeah.
And then I was talking with people and I was asking some people like, what should I do? Like if I'm interested in Legion. And so my friend Dennis Camp, I'm sure you know who Dennis is, right?
I know.
Maxwell Demons. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Dennis was telling me a long time ago, he's like, I think that you, knowing your taste, would really like the Giffen 5 years later stuff.
Yeah.
And I was like, really? So I actually, since that conversation, I have the first 18 issues of it.
Yeah.
And this was before we had this conversation before, I guess, that Omnibus came out, right? And they're doing a second volume of it. So I do actually have the first 18 issues. Mm-hmm. So it's just this conversation keeps coming back around. So I definitely want to check it out. You think I should read Legion Lost first?
I think so, because it's kind of similar to the Great Darkness saga. It's like it's more or less a contained story.
Okay.
You can kind of figure it out without all the other characters.
I got another question then. Are the Legion Before the Darkness hardcovers worth getting? Because I was thinking about that too.
Here's the thing. They're worth getting in the sense that when DC hardcovers go out of print, you can never get them again. But it's not necessarily the best stuff. But one thing I think with the Legion, unlike a lot of other properties, you can start from the beginning in the Silver Age, and probably similar to maybe like X-Men. You can read from the beginning all the way through, at least through 5 years later. So that's, like 5 decades worth of material. Yeah. About 4 decades worth of material. Like you can read through that and it's really fucking rewarding. Like I'll give you an example. This isn't a major spoiler, but there's in the I think this was just at the end of the Silver Age into the Bronze Age. I think it's a Dave Cockrum issue, maybe a Mike Grell issue, but I think it's Dave Cockrum. There's just a one-off story where Mon-El, like something happens, he's going to die, and his brother sacrifices himself to save him. It's like there's this, it's like I'm trying to think of exactly the situation, but it was like he had to get this thing done, and they go into these like 2 tubes, and like the brother dies to save Mon-El. You jump during 5 years later, it's revealed that Mon-El was the one who died, and it's been his brother this whole time.
Oh wow!
Like that kind of shit.
Like he's been playing that
that's like, oh, that's something that happened in the early 70s, and now they're bringing up in like 1990, 1991. Like
that's how we felt when the Clone Saga first started. That's how we felt.
Yeah, right? Peter Parker. Yeah, isn't it Peter Parker?
Yeah, but it's that kind of shit going on in that sort of book. It's really like there's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of evolution of these different characters, and it more or less created comics fandom, because that was coming out at the time where it was really developing. And the way it was done originally, like in the Silver Age, there are a lot of characters. So there's not a lot of time to like really develop strong personalities for the characters. Mm-hmm. So there are so many characters, kids reading them would kind of like insert themselves into the different characters. And that's how fandom really started coming around with Legion. Yeah. It was more inviting for kids than basically any other comic.
Like X-Men.
Yeah, but
it's similar, but anyone can be a superhero in the future. Yeah.
No, for sure. People like also, it's interesting because, obviously there's a lot of parallels with Legion. They ripped the fuck off Legion when they rebooted X-Men. Claremont and Cockrum. Cockrum left Legion to do X-Men, and then took a bunch of his ideas, and it's
I didn't know
literally just Legion.
Wow.
The Macron crystal is the same crystal from the wedding of Bouncing Boy and Duo Damsel. It's the same.
Wow.
See,
Like-
wait, here's the thing. This is why it's hard to get into the Legion. Bouncing Boy and who?
And Duo Damsel.
Matter eating lead.
Come on, man. Yeah.
Oh yeah, but a lot of that stuff though, when they were.
Hey, I like Mr. Fantastic. I can't say.
Oh
shit.
no, for sure. But like the premise behind Legion, at least for the first few decades or so, was the whole point of it is that Superman was such a benevolent force for good that nothing before Superman or 1,000 years after Superman stood out more than him, and these kids became heroes because of how great this one man was 1,000 years ago. And that's such just like a powerful foundation for a story.
That makes sense. That's
why I like that Jeff Johns stuff, because that was the first time I felt that.
Yeah.
Like that I kind of got that. Hey, Jay Strick, you still here, buddy?
But yeah, no, Jeff obviously thinks of that stuff. So
yeah, I want to know what Jeff. What Jeff? I want to know what Jay Strick wants to talk about, man.
I'm good, man. I'm just listening to you and Joe talk, soaking up from the water hose.
Did you read Beckstar number 5 yet?
I did. I was going to show it off for my show and tell.
Oh, what'd you think of it?
Aw.
Let's
Thought it was
gush
good.
again over Joe.
I think you should
praise on him.
read it if you have not read it in the chat. You should pick it up at your local comic book shop. It is. It's the best Mad Cave book I've read so far.
I gotta think about this.
Oh, they're saying it because you're here, Joe. I'm kidding. I'm sure he loves it.
I'm not gonna say it just because Joe's here. I gotta think about it. Let's see. What do I like?
No, I was thinking about it when y'all were talking.
Stargazer's really good.
Yeah.
Stargazer's good.
I like Over the Ropes from our friend Jay Sandlin. By the way, Jay will be joining us along with Brian and Verno from the Cerebros
Nice.
Monday night for Comics Revisited, Pax Romana.
Ooh.
Talk about lots of information densely packed into a story. I love the book. I think Pax Romana is amazing. I'd rather see more shit like that from Hickman than more X-Men.
No, I'm with you.
Yeah, I might say it's one of my favorite. It might be my favorite Mad Cave book. I have to. I'm not just saying that.
No,
Joe.
I
like you did a really good job, and I actually
thank you.
hate to say this. I hope Leanna's not listening. I think it's better than She Said Destroy. I really like She Said Destroy, but I think Beckstar's better, bro. I'm excited to see what's coming in the future. I know you're working on some stuff that's not announced, so
Well, thank you.
really excited, bro.
Thank you. I'm excited too.
And I hope we get a Beckstar too. And I hope we get a TV show, but not on Sci-Fi Channel.
That's fair.
Yeah.
That'd be CW.
Yeah, not CW either.
Don't ruin his options. Don't ruin his options.
I always think about how, not always, I'm being dramatic, but how sci-fi all those years ago were like Game of Thrones. Fuck you with that trash. We're too good for Game of Thrones.
Well, they were.
Sci-Fi Channel turned down Game of Thrones?
Yeah.
That's stupid.
I didn't know that.
No,
Well, they would have ruined it.
Doesn't really fit their whole thing, right? But I guess they're not science fiction anymore. They're
It's fantasy.
Sci-fi. Is that
They've
what it
done
means
like
now?
enough fantasy. Like I feel like they used to play like reruns,
Yeah.
like Hercules and Xena.
Yeah,
Yeah,
100%. I remember that. Yeah.
Is that why
did
they
the-
changed the name to the SYFY? Probably though, like
No, it was like they couldn't use science fiction. They had to do sci-fi. They had
Yeah.
to change the name because of like. Oh, it wasn't a legal thing. I
some
don't
like
think.
WWE, WWF shit.
The entity science
Yeah,
fiction.
the entity
sued
science
them.
fiction.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Isaac Asimov fucking.
No, I say thee nay.
Oh my god.
Be gone with
Nice.
you.
All right. Man.
Good talkings.
Yeah, good bits. Good
Yeah.
talkings, good everything.
Well,
Man,
yeah,
it's
they said
Suspiria.
that they're bringing back Legends of the Hidden Temple.
Wow.
Yeah.
On Nickelodeon. Cool.
Cool.
Yeah,
on
and
that show, man.
they're going to be adults now that's playing.
Yeah, like
Oh, that's
the
crazier.
whole like courses and shit look like awesome.
Is Kurt Fogg back or?
I don't know.
The original host?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Is he?
I don't know who that is.
It's the original host of Hidden
The
Temple.
original
man.
Yeah,
host
I don't
of-
remember
yes.
the host. All I remember is the fucking.
I don't know how
Stonehead
Joe
guy.
remembers his fucking
Yeah,
name.
like why did Joe
Yeah,
know?
that is
Like
a weird stretch.
I thought the Stonehead guy
You
was
know
the
him first
host.
name basis.
you know Kurt? I'm like, no.
I'm more excited if Olmec's back. That's what I want.
He has to be back. I don't
Oh,
think you
yeah.
can do the show without, you know.
They're going to
without him.
do it. They have to do that. Yeah.
What about this? Supermarket Sweep is back, bruh. That's like my favorite game show of all time for some reason.
That's a weird stretch.
I have a fantasy, bro. Here's something. I was wondering this because I was on so I did the show on Mondays with Dynamic Forces with Rex and John, and they were selling some of Claremont and Burns' fantastic or X-Men from 130s and 140s, right?
Yeah.
And you know, a couple of them had that win a Toys R Us shopping spree banner.
Yes.
And I was like, I was like, do we know who won
Yeah.
that? Like, what's that
Bro.
story? Like, somebody should make a documentary. Find that person. Find out about, like, I would, like, maybe I should be like, I'm going to interview the person who won the Toys R Us fucking. You ever think about shit like that when you see these ads? Like, who won this? Like, like the Sword Quest shit was fascinating because there was no ultimate winner. So, like, where's the sword? And then, like, they did a comic book that was about, like, finding the actual fucking sword prize. Like, what? Maybe that was too deep of a cut for some people, but I don't know. I'm
But
fascinated.
Eventually,
I love
the
that.
guy who ended up buying the company ended up with like the sword and the philosopher's stone.
I mean, I think that's what the philosophers did. Like, they're
But like,
actual magical relics.
it's like the issue, I think issue 137, where where Jean Grey gets murdered is one of the issues where it's like you could win a 25.
Yeah.
You know, like
Yeah.
Gene?
Jean
It
gets
is.
vaporized, and then
She vaporizes herself.
Oh, but that was when comics were just for kids, right? The Claremont was writing those stories solely dumbed down and aimed towards like 8-year-olds.
it's just so funny when you see that stuff, and I'm sure there's a lot of back issues where there's like similar things. Like I would love if that issue where you know they fridge Kyle Rayner's girlfriend had something like a big banner on the top that was like, you could win a $2,500
refrigerator.
I just want to know. I remember watching shows where they would, or like commercials or something where they would show like kids doing the shopping spree, and it was like the supermarket sweep idea, right? That's what made me think of it, right? Was like, that's why I love supermarket sweep. You like, this is a fantasy.
Keep all those groceries.
Imagine if you were like, you got this much time. I used to go through Toys R Us and be like, I know the quickest way to get to the action figure aisle. I know where the Toy Biz X-Men toys are. I know where all this, and like that, I would like plot out what I would do if I won that shit. You used to see shit. Kids do that like on TV and shit.
Oh,
Here's
I
a
remember
question.
that. I used to do the same thing.
Here's a question for the entire panel. We'll go down the list. What's your favorite Nickelodeon game show of all time? We'll start with Jason.
I mean, I think I grew up in a different area than y'all, but I'd probably go with Slime Time Live.
What?
You know, see? You don't even know
It's
what
the
that is.
basis.
I don't even know
It's
what
the
the hell that
basis.
is.
It's the basis for the original show that I was going to say was my favorite, but I'm going to wait. I know what you're talking about.
It's a game
I know
show,
what
and
it's
if you
about.
got the answer wrong, they slimed you.
They slime you.
Like
That's
you can't
every
say that
game
on
show
television.
Nickelodeon.
The first show, okay. Can you name
Dude,
the
that
first
was
show
like
that ever did
98.
that? The first show that ever did slime. The
I
reason
thought
why
it was
they
you can't
slime
do that on
kids.
television.
You can't do
It
that. on
is.
television.
You
That-
can't
that
do
was
that on
it.
television.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can't do that on television.
Yeah, it's two different shows, bro. Like,
But then they like
No,
used it on
the
Double
slime
Dare.
the first time, and then written next to that was Double Dare, which was my.
Alanis Morissette was in You Can't Do That on
You
television.
can't do that on television. Yes.
dude, you're
Anyway,
all
tell
the-
us about
all
Slime.
all the '90s references.
Tell us about
Pixies.
Slime Time Live. Pixie started in the
I just
80s.
told you it's a game show. If you get the answer wrong, you get slimed.
That's why you liked it?
It's pretty
That
simple.
was funny.
Okay.
Pretty simple.
Or Hidden Temple, I guess.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh,
Hidden Temple's
yeah.
pretty good.
Well,
Yeah,
Hidden
Hidden
Temple's
Temple's
good.
dope.
All right. Jelani, all right, Jelani, go ahead.
It's
What were
freaking
you-
Double Dare. God dang it, Mark Summers. God dang it,
Now-
you gotta
now, here's
answer
the- here's
trivia
the thing.
questions
Here's
and
the
do
thing.
gross stuff.
What do you
Uh-huh.
like better, Double Dare or Family Double Dare?
Family Double Dare because the parents are freaking ridiculous.
Yes.
It's the parents. The parents, some of them intentionally lose because they don't know what they. Oh, my hip! It's great. I love them doing the physical challenges, man.
I also love
Oh,
the questions
baller.
because all the kids are dumb as hell.
Yeah,
But
they're
like
dumb.
when you get to Family Double Dare, the parents are dumber.
Parents
than
are
the kids.
dumber than the kids.
Yeah.
It's great.
But,
Yeah.
was it
Yeah.
Mark Summers? Didn't he have like OCD or something
Yes.
like that?
Yeah.
And it's
OCD.
like,
Yeah.
what
He
the
had,
fuck?
like-
You're making him do this?
I found out about that, right? Like I remember that becoming a thing. I heard about it, and then when Nickelodeon had the Gas Network, which was their game and sports network, where they would just re-air all that shit over and over. I remember watching an episode of Double Dare, and
It
like
looks uncomfortable.
he gets like gotten by some of the slime or whatever, and he like you can see him like back off, and he's like rubbing off. He goes, "Yeah, I got a lot of slime on me, but that's okay. So join us next time." And you can see that it's bothering him, man. I was like, "That's sad as hell, man. That's sad
Yeah.
as hell." Double Dare is a great one, man. I used to love that.
I
Remember
love
do
Double Dare.
you remember the Double Dare home game? Where it was like they
No.
gave you a
I
couple
don't
props,
love
but you
that.
had to provide your own eggs and whipped cream and shit like that. But yeah, they did it. It
Da,
was
da,
good.
da. Da, da, da. I
So
love
about
when they
you?
do the physical challenge. I love that music.
What
It's
about you,
great.
Brooks?
Legend of the Hidden Temple was always my favorite. I just loved like the whole aesthetic of that show and like the watching the kids try to run through the obstacle course. It looked like it looked fun as hell. I wanted to like be on that show.
And you yell at those kids. You're like, "That's not how you do the
That's
three
how you do
monkeys,
it!"
dumbass."
It's like, no, you fool!
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
you
feel like
gotta
there's-
match. You gotta match that dude exactly. Like, what's wrong? Just hit the buttons. You don't have to fucking do it. Whatever.
Yeah.
I remember watching one time where a kid was hopeless. He couldn't even get out of one fucking room. It was
Pathetic.
hopeless, bro. I felt so
Yeah.
bad. It was
I'm a-
pathetic.
That would have been you.
I'm a blue barracuda guy myself. But, you know.
Nice.
Green monkeys here, baby. You can buy those shirts. We should all get them
Yeah.
one day and just wear them for no reason on the screen.
We should.
We should all just pick our
Why not?
team. Silver Snakes. Whatever. Joe, what about you?
I feel like one of the ones I looked forward to as a kid was Nick Arcade.
Yeah.
Where the thing I loved about it is just like how terrible it was. Like it's just genuinely a bad setup because like first off, the host, whenever they played Sonic the Hedgehog, would always call the bad guy Dr. Robotnik.
Oh, instead of
time.
Robotnik?
Instead of Robotnik, he was always like, "You have to stop the deadly the villainous Robotnik."
He's just reading off a cue card, Joe. Come on.
But it was like every time. It wasn't like the one time. It's like you get it the one
Like
time.
no one corrected you. Yeah.
But
The
yeah, like,
producers didn't correct
it's
you.
like
Somebody probably told him. But
Stega
he
didn't
like, no,
correct
it's
you.
Robotnik.
Yeah.
yeah, that would be amazing if he was like
It's
a
like
total
Krypton.
diva about it. Like you're correcting me. Well, I'm never gonna say it right now.
True.
But and then you'd get like the really awkward green screen like endings where
It's
like the kids,
like a weatherman on his first day. He doesn't know what's what.
and for most of the time it's the kid trying to figure out where it's actually supposed to be because he's at a green screen. So you see like looking at like a monitor and be like, am I touching the right thing? And then like half the time they would have like the boards where that like dumpy kid Billy had to walk on, and he had to like go across the mall, and it was like, there's a bully gonna cream pie you, and like half the fucking time they never run into the bully anyway, and you're just like, cool. There's like what I'm trying to say is the stakes were a little too low in Nick Arcade.
And so Nick Arcade's one of those ones that's a cool concept, but when you do watch it, you're just like, this doesn't like I had never seen anybody fucking win in that game either, hardly. But anyway, for me, I will go Guts. Guts was my favorite. So much so that I have looked up pieces of the aggro crag, pieces of the crag that they would give that as a reward.
Yeah.
You know, I've looked it up on fucking eBay and like found them sometimes, and I'm like, I mean, if I had a couple $100 extra, I might get one, even just a replica. Like I want that. But I loved Guts. I thought it was super cool. Shout outs to Wild and Crazy Kids, and shout out to Finders Keepers because I just love that whole set.
Cool.
And the whole point was to go and tear ass through a fucking room and find something. So I thought that was cool. So I think we covered all of them.
It's good video games,
including Slime TV Live or whatever the fuck that is.
Slime
I guess that's like 2005 Nickelodeon. I don't fucking know.
Wow.
It comes from a different generation, man.
Gosh.
What are you like a Zoomer or something? What's
the children?
I was trying to, by the way, Joe, I
He's
was trying to explain the whole bit about the Apple Jacks commercials to J Strick, so I made him watch some of those commercials.
Oh my god.
What's this?
I can't see your phone.
What was that?
Well, I don't know what that was.
What was that?
This is Slime Time Live.
I don't know what that is.
It looks random and generic, but anyway, Joe, we were watching those Applejack commercials, and you're right. It's really off-putting when they're like, "Who?" Yeah, can you just do the bit again? I like, who fucking cares? Just fucking eat that.
It's so weird, and it's like children like basically telling their parents to fuck off, like. You know,
Robbie showed me that commercial. I was like, "What the hell was that?"
It's like some mom in like an apron will come in and just be like,
it's like a perfectly legitimate question. Why does it taste like? Why's it called Apple Jacks? It doesn't taste like apples. These kids are just like, ugh.
And they're like shitting on each other because they're asking like legitimate questions.
Yeah,
and it doesn't taste like
that's
apples.
How you can tell like we're the adults now.
Yeah,
we sympathize with the grown-ups in the
maybe you do.
Oh, absolutely. But you know what else you should check out? Speaking of like weird, off-putting, dated commercials, there's this promotional like 5-minute video from 1991 of Sizzler, and it is
I
just.
think I heard of that.
It is
like the restaurant,
posted, right?
Yeah.
The restaurant was awesome.
Perch posted it because I sent it to him earlier.
Nice.
And it's just like, but like you'll watch it and it's like an oddly like patriotic commercial. Like it gets so uncomfortable so fast. And at one point, pretty early on, where they're just like, there's a quiet revolution going on. And you're like, the fucking Sizzler? And you're talking about a revolution?
Some fucking
they live
shit going on.
Yeah, you know, they're just.
Are those still around? We don't have them anymore.
No, I haven't seen Sizzler in years.
I think they still exist, but because you know what else still exists, but there's only I think like a couple locations left. The Rainforest Cafe.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did they still have one in Nashville?
Yeah, they have one in Orlando.
Shoney's still exists?
Shoney's are around, but they're not here where we are.
In a long time.
They closed the Shoney's where we live ages ago.
I remember the one on South Parkway.
I missed that one.
Way back.
There was a Rainforest Cafe in Nashville. I don't know if that's still there, but everybody in our area, Joe, like, it's like, have you ever been to the Rainforest Cafe? And I actually never went. They're like, it's the coolest thing. It's like going to I was like, it sounds like going to a mini golf course.
Yeah.
For dinner. Like, but that sounds appealing, I guess. Shoney's, by the way, my girlfriend lives in Athens, which is a couple towns over, Joe, right? Mm-hmm. And going there, and we're going to her place, and I see the horizon, and a Shoney's sign pops up. And I got so fucking excited because Shoney's breakfast bar, like, bro, so many drunken
catfish on the freaking breakfast bar.
The Shoney's was like a post-church destination.
Yeah, it is.
It was post-church, but then in my 20s, it was the hungover Sunday morning location, right?
It was
post. I saw it. Church then. I saw it, and the angels were singing. And I get up, and it's fucking closed, shut down, but the building's still there. Like, it's not open. It's closed. And then all of a sudden, the goblin music started up, and it was like, whoa. What a good breakfast bar. Do you remember that shitty breakfast bar at that New Year's Eve party at the Furniture Factory, Jelani, that you ate the hell out of?
That shit was delicious. When you're drunk, you'll eat it.
When you're drunk at 3 a.m, you're like, hell yeah, who cares? These eggs are like school eggs.
They
like
are school eggs.
Breakfast fucking eggs.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Anyway, Great show tonight, everybody. It's time for show and tell. And kicking us off on show and tell tonight will be the man himself, Jelani.
Oh, really? Wow. I don't have that much. I'll start with, I got the Kingdom tracks. So, like, he's a Corvette, but he's also a jet.
Beautiful, man.
Ooh.
I like it. He's in jet mode because, he's a Corvette jet. And then next, you guys probably don't care, but I do. I got me a Chris Jericho figure. I don't know if I can see it in the light. With his belt, the Chase figure. I'm so excited. I got a Chris Jericho. I got a Chris Jericho behind me.
Looks like Sabretooth from the first X-Men film.
Yeah. It was pretty cool. And then, I don't know, but I really enjoyed this together. I got the 2-pack of the Ironmonger in Obadiah Stane.
Weird
You
fact.
bought an Obadiah Stane figure, bro?
Yeah. I like Obadiah. He is my favorite villain. Plus,
What
he's
the
the first
fuck?
villain. in Marvel
Tony
Universe.
Stark made this in a cave.
A cave. Yeah. It's freaking awesome.
From a box of scrap.
Scraps. Yeah. That's it.
Jesus
I mean, of
Christ.
course, Iron Man. I haven't showed him off yet, but this is my Gentle Giant Iron Man.
Oh, my second favorite Iron Man
Yes.
suit, bro.
I love Silver Centurion. He's the freaking best. He's the drunk one. He's the best one.
I thought that
So-
was post-drunk.
And Whis is.
Oh, that's post-drunk, right?
This is post drunk.
Yeah, because
Oh
then
yeah, this is post drunk.
Rhodey took over and he
Rhodey
came
took
back
over and he's
yeah.
Iron Man.
Yeah.
He came back and wore the suit, and he's like, "I want to look different." That's right.
Get your facts
Silver
straight,
Centurion.
man. Joe Corralo's here. Don't embarrass us.
Yeah, don't
Shut
embarrass
up.
us, dude.
Shut up. That's my figure. That's it. All right, I'm done. You can leave me now. Yes.
Nice. We appreciate it. All right. That's when I first started reading Iron Man comics. There was the issue where like James is in the armor and he's fallen from space or whatever, and Tony's got to go save him.
Yeah, it's gonna say
Yeah. And
Yeah, back in the
that's-
70s. Yeah.
it's
Nice.
the 80s,
It's the 80s,
brother.
man.
Okay, the 80s.
Yeah.
I was young.
69. Yeah, nice.
All right, 69s, man. Why don't you show us what you fucking got? You got any new My Little Ponies or fucking Pokemon to show? What do you got?
Jesus Christ.
Any
First
fucking-
of all,
you got
I
some-
have
you
the
got some
special
fucking-
edition 4K of Suspiria. Look at that cover.
Nice.
Nice.
With the
Very
slip.
nice. With the slip.
It's got all the different cuts on here, the Italian, English. It's a weird stretch. There's a Japanese cut apparently on here.
Oh, that's interesting.
I'd
I
watch
know,
it.
like,
I'd like to
there's-
watch it, honestly.
There's an
Watch it.
Italian opening, but like I don't know what else would be different. But
There's Beckstar number 5.
Ooh,
Ooh, that's a
Joe
pretty
Corralo,
comic
friend of the
book.
show. Go support him.
thank you.
Read this for the first time. This was freaking awesome,
That-
man.
It's a gorgeous story.
I'm dead.
I
Yeah.
love the story. I love the
Joe,
story.
Joe, by the way, just so you know, this motherfucker comes in the shop. He goes, "Do we have Whatever Happened to Man Tomorrow?" I was like, "Did you watch that fucking show Joe did with fucking Thinking Critical?" He's like, "Yeah,
It's really
No,
good.
it is good. It's
It's
really
good.
good show." But I'm just saying, man, he's being influenced by you, brother.
Thank you,
That's
Joe.
Thank you.
I got this Deathstroke from Arkham Origins, the video game,
Ooh.
PlayStation 3.
Is that the wait? Is that the McFarlane one?
I don't know, dude.
It's not. It's not. It's from the
It's
it's pre McFarlane DC Direct shit.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Like
Does it come
2013.
with?
I couldn't tell. I don't have it, so I didn't see it. That looks cool.
Does it come with an impressionable 15-year-old Terra?
Damn.
Oh,
With the zinger.
damn.
And shout out the Knicks. Let's go, baby.
Nice.
Eh.
Nice.
All right, that's fine. Next
Those
up for show and
Negro
tell will
Rockers.
be me. All right. So it's Halloween time. So I just
Is it?
wanted to show this off. So I got this. This is one of the weirdest, like, you know, like Toy Biz would do these like 10-inch figures,
Yeah.
and then they would do these weird repaints, right? So this is the quote unquote Green Goblin. If you notice, it's just Hobgoblin repainted like he's Green Goblin. He's got like this translucent like skin. It's like see-through plastic, and it's obvious, but I don't know. It's cool. It's so weird to me because it's Hobgoblin.
It is Hobgoblin.
And they just put some paint on it, and they're
Yeah.
like, kids will think it's Green Goblin. Who gives a shit? Right? Just
And
got
they
this in
sold
this
a
week.
lot.
because we're covering it tomorrow night on Dylan's Horror Show. But I got my copy of Drag Me to Hell finally, and it came with the slip. I was
Nice.
very excited about
Yeah.
that. The cool thing about when you have the slip case is that you can have the new art, which is really cool, and the classic art.
You
which
know
is
about
cool,
new
too.
art.
All right.
Have you seen that movie?
Speaking of new art, you ever heard of George Perez?
What's a George Perez?
I picked these up because I've never read them, and I want to. And this is like, correct me if I'm wrong. No, this is. Let me check the date. Yeah, this is pre-crisis Dark Side type stuff that I've never read, so I really want to get into. But it's Justice League 183.
Nice, yeah.
And then 184.
Nice.
And then
God damn, dude, you got a bag and board, bro?
180. No, these were dollar books, bro. I mean, look at the back of that one.
Yeah.
Get
No
your
grade's
Daisy.
better than no
Get your
Get your daisy guns.
yeah.
Just put your eye out.
Oh, you think that's weird? Here's OJ Simpson selling us some fucking cowboy
Oh
boots.
Jesus Christ!
Anyway, I've always seen that.
That's
cover.
awkward. That's
I've
awkward.
always wanted to read that. And then I did pick up. I want to get the whole Marvel 2-in-1 run, but I did pick up an issue 50 because it's Thing versus the Thing.
Nice.
So he goes back in time
What
to
the
fight
hell?
like his earlier version. Whatever. I think that's cool.
That's a weird stretch. I like it.
Y'all, look at this. Mike, the voice Matthews, hooked me up with this.
Gunslinger.
Nice.
Even on tour
Gunslinger Spawn.
across the country, he hooked me up with the Gunslinger Spawn. And finally, I still got to get this thing framed. I got this at Heroes Con when I met Francisco Francavilla, one of my favorite artists. But look at that.
Nice.
Yeah, that's Dario Argento, in case you didn't
Yeah.
know. And of course, it's signed by the man himself. Not Argento, but
That's
Francisco.
dope.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
that was
you need
really
a frame
cool.
for that, man.
Yeah, I do. It was really cool to meet him.
You need to
And
bag and board that, bro.
he had a lot of great prints. And I saw this and I was like, oh, how many of that? He's like, that's the only one I got left. I was like, I got to get it. That's a sign.
Yeah.
It's one of my favorite Italian artists doing
Got
one
the-
of my favorite Italian directors. So
Argento cut poster. Nice.
yeah, well, it's based on like a film festival that was going on or some shit like that he did the art for.
You notice
Anyway.
the eyes?
That's what I got. So coming up next on Show and Tell will be Joe Corallo himself.
Oh hey. Yeah, I've gotten some books recently. I enjoy some comics. I actually found this in the wild. A hardcover of Four Kids Walk Into a Bank.
Very
And,
cool.
Picked
Nice.
that one up.
That does look cool. It's like-
Right? It's
We got
nice.
we got in the special edition. Like I think Matt sent something to a lot of shops of the new book he's doing, The Furthest Place from Here.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to reading that. I hear it's
Nice.
really good.
Yeah. No, I'm sure. I check that out. But I've gotten some of the a direct market variant omnibuses, like the Captain America Volume 3 with the new thing they're doing with making it shittier by having the much smaller font.
The
on the
tiny,
front.
bro, what's up with that?
It's,
So
Even-
it goes from this big ass wide font to like that. That's great.
Yep. It's awesome, but no, this is a great one. This is has the whole Englehart run is in here, which is important. It's probably the most important since the Joe Simon, Jack Kirby stuff. There's a couple of things in between, but like they mine everything from that. That's where they take there was other people being Cap, Nomad, Secret Empire, the Serpent Squad, like all that shit is from there. I also got the DM variant of the Amazing Spider-Man Volume 5 omnibus.
Nice.
Also, tiny ass
Very
font. To drive people with OCD crazy who have these. I don't think Mark Summers would be able to handle those. So, but that's a good one. And I showed it off before, but for the stream, the Absolute Fourth World
That's beautiful.
Yeah, that is
Volume
nice.
1.
Kirby.
Here, look at this is
Gorgeous.
cut out, so it's
Oh, that's gorgeous. Oh man,
right.
Damn.
It is.
that's a lot of book though.
How many
That's-
times am I going to rebuy the Fourth World shit, bro?
Oh, that's dope.
Wow.
That Kirby stuff, but like it's gigantic. I don't think I've ever seen Kirby art, in like a book like this. It's like been this big, and it's just like so fucking gorgeous. Like, look at this shit. Like,
That's awesome.
Wow.
like it is. So
That's
good.
pretty. That's
It
very
is.
pretty.
It is
Is it-
pretty. It smells great.
Yeah.
Are they
Yeah, you
published
smell
in
your
the
books.
are they published in the order that they were in the original deluxe hardcovers, where it's kind of like publishing order?
It is, you know, it's supposed to be the publishing order for the readability. So yeah, it's like Jimmy Olsen 133, 34, 35, Forever People #1, New Gods #1, Miracle Man #1. Jimmy Olsen 136, Forever People
Yeah.
#2, New Gods #2. Like, so yeah.
Yeah,
It's like,
nice.
yeah.
That's really cool. Very impressive, Joe.
Thank you.
Speaking of impressive, taking us home tonight with show and tell will be Brooks. What you got, my man?
I got this guy dropped off and kind of unexpected surprise. This is like a Bruce Lee figure. Got a good deal on him too. And he comes with a bow staff, tonfa, a pair of nunchucks that I put in his back
Nice.
pocket. He's super posable too. He's pretty awesome. I'm planning on, like, there's the stand for him.
Nice.
My goal is
Very
to
nice.
give him the dragon, this kind of pose. See if I could get him to do that.
Yeah. What the?
Yeah, so pulled out this as in honor of the occasion. This is my Liliana Vess figure. She's a necromancer from
Ooh.
the Magic series.
Jeez. Spicy.
Ooh.
But there are more dangerous things out tonight than witches.
Like what?
Like me.
Nice.
Nice.
This is like the original Legends Blade.
Yeah,
And
Blade
the
2.
coat is from
Yeah.
my
Let's
Punisher.
play 2. Yeah.
I kinda-
With the bike.
Yeah, I have the bike somewhere, but I couldn't find it, so I'll have to dig it up. The last thing, I picked this up Wednesday too. It's the Battle Angel Alita prequel.
Ooh.
It's really good too. I really enjoyed it.
Nice.
Like Battle Angel Alita was one of my favorite mangas back in the day, and it's like it's just kind of telling the story of her childhood. I thought that was really good. It's kind of sad though. It's pretty sad. It's just as a
She ends up as a
forewarning.
robot, right?
Yeah, she's a robot.
Spoilers.
It's got a lot of tragedy
She's a
happening
robot.
around her. Kind of a theme of the original one too, though.
That's awesome, man. Glad you're digging into our newly revitalized manga section.
Yeah, it's nice to see some some new manga over
Well,
there.
trust
and,
me, it's hard as fuck to get
Yeah.
right now.
You're welcome.
Jay Strick has to hear me every day complain about how I can't get certain things.
Do you have
Like,
Chainsaw Man?
No, I can't get it. We have
I
it when it first
figured.
comes out, and
I
then
saw
it
they
sells
doing
out. And I can't get it.
hardcovers of Fist of the North Star. Are those still available?
I got a volume 2 back in, but I can't get volume 1 right now from either Ingram or Diamond or anybody. Like, no.
Wow.
Amazon has it though. Go figure.
It's like what manga doing an embargo or something with America?
There's all kinds of reasons, man. Like
Trade war.
supply
Yeah.
chain shortages, and then there's like there was a stoppage of shit during COVID, and during COVID more people were like buying these things up, so there's more of a demand. It's increasing, and
Wow.
but I'm working on it, Brooks. We had a book 2 in it because it just came in, but I'll try to get a volume. I'll try to get what?
I bought it.
You bought it.
I didn't buy it.
It's like, why are you buying a volume 2 if we can't get volume 1? Anyway, thank you all for being here. Tomorrow, Drag Me to Hell on Dylan's Horror Show. Next week for PCP Movie Night, we're doing a Demons double feature, Demons 1 and 2, more Italian horror from Lamberto Bava. Very excited about that. And then Pax Romana on Comics Revisited on Monday night, and lots of other things. So we're dipping out. Y'all have fun. And remember,